If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. We'll go behind enemy lines with Stephen Brooks on Michigan State coming up at 9:33. Hear from Ryan Day, Jim Knowles. Ryan Day with a great line about how pleased he is with everything. We will get to that coming up at 10 o'clock. We will do a little bit of higher or lower in the 11 o'clock hour. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas. The winners there get the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You have that coming up. You have Jake Trotter coming up at 10:33. We'll go around the NFL at 10:20. So as loaded up as can possibly be here on the program. And yet I want to start with UNLV football. You say, well, why? Why would you do that? I'm going to be very candid with you folks. I did not know that UNLV was 3-0. I didn't know who in the blue hell Matt Sluka was. I had no point of reference on who this human being was. I looked up his stats once I saw that it was trending very early this morning, and I saw that he's completing 43% of his passes. He's got 6 touchdowns and a pick for the 3-0 running Rebels. UNLV is in a little bit of the news for something else because they are kind of a team. They're trying to get the Mountain West to stay together, and there is interest of what the Pac-12 is trying to put together in UNLV, and with Utah State going to the Pac-12, it's possible that UNLV will join them. So that thing is happening all the while. But the reason we're talking about them is because I believe we had this a long, long time ago. Now it's UNLV, so it's going to be a blip on a First Friday on September 25th. But someday it could be somebody much, much bigger. And so here is what happened overnight. Matt Sluka, the quarterback at UNLV, wrote a letter on his social media accounts that said, and I quote, "I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for continued success of the program." He didn't get paid. He was promised things, and he didn't get it. He was promised things in name, image, and likeness, and he didn't get it. My guess is the last week or so, he has gone to his coaches and said, where is what I was promised? It has not been delivered. And now he has done the ultimate, oh, yeah, watch this, and he's left the football team. Now, there's a lot of outrage at him for this, and I get that because this is wild, right? What if it were your kid is the first thing I would say. If he was promised something financially and then it was not reciprocated, what if this were a coach? What if UNLV just decided to stop paying their coach just randomly after it was agreed upon that he had a salary? If they just said, we're not going to pay you anymore. Well, wait, what are you talking about? I signed a contract. He signed a contract. There is no contract. Nothing's binding, right? There's they don't have to pay him. He didn't have to play. There's nothing holding him to anything. There's nothing holding them to anything. This kid played 4 years of football at Holy Cross. He is not a pro. He's not going to play in the National Football League. He's completing 43% of his passes. He has one chance to be compensated for playing football. The system that we allowed to happen allows for him to be compensated for playing football, and he's not being compensated for playing football. He has played 3 games. Why is that number important? Because if he plays a 4th, he can't transfer. Right? So this allows him to transfer freely. So now, and there's already reports that several people have reached out to him because there are such a need around the country for quarterback play that there are people around who have reached out to him and said, hey, come transfer here and we'll make sure you get taken care of. This isn't at the top of the sport. It's not even at the middling top of the sport. It's at the middle of the sport is where it is. But one thing that we talked about, and this goes all the way back to James and I years ago, and Chops, you were on the show at that time, obviously. There is no – this was always going to need to be self-corrected. I remember James and I having conversations when this was all happening, saying that there were two things that could happen. Number one, the people who fund collectives would not receive a proper return on investment on their investment, right? You would give money to a kid, and you're like, well, wait a second. He's not as good as you guys said he was in the recruiting process. I don't want to give this kid this money. He's not delivering, right? That was the first thing, that the collectives or the people who fund collectives would be, nah, not for us anymore. I'm not getting a good ROI on this. Instead, I'm going to donate to the athletic department. I'm going to get a brick at the shoe. Like, I'm going to do something like that. That's more permanent. That I know I got. I'm not doing this anymore. This kid isn't as good as you guys said he was. So that was one way of self-correction. The other we said was this, that there's going to come a time, and we use the example at the very highest level of sport, for example, like a player holding a team hostage in the 12-team playoff and saying, hey, you don't give me $750,000 by Monday, I'm not going to play in the quarterfinal game. That's an extreme version of this. That's the most extreme version of this. This happened at a middling program with a middling player. But it could absolutely be a harbinger of things to come. Do I think that this could happen down the road at a big-time program in a big spot? Yeah, it's not going to happen here. A place like Ohio State's really organized. They're going to be fine. They're going to make sure their guys are taken care of. But if you look at the top 12 in the country, you think about the teams that are going to make the college football playoff, they're not all that locked in. They're not all that properly funded. Some of these are shoestring operations when you think of some of these. Think about Miami, for example, and the money that Ruiz has. But he is in all sorts of trouble away from that. Are they going to be able to fund what they promised? And that's where something like this happens. And one thing we've said consistently is the only way to prevent this is to get them to sign on the line, which is dotted, and to pay them yourselves so that you have contracts, so that you have control. This is something that Saban said for years. Urban said this back in the teens. Ryan Day has said this. Everybody has said it. It's the NFL model. It's the only way to gain control. This is a 43% passer in his fifth year after playing 4 years at Holy Cross, playing for UNLV, who quit on his team 3 games in. Okay? This is the first example of it. There will be more. And all the adults in the room created the problem, and right now there's none of them thinking about a solution.
No, and I actually applaud Matthew Sluka for making this decision to decide to say, well, you're not paying me. I mean, think about it. If you were an accountant at a small accounting firm and you moved to a different city to join a bigger corporate accounting job, and they just didn't pay you, what would you think in that? That is what happened here.
That's what happened.
He was told that he was going to be paid for his services to play football, which whatever, you can get into the argument of whether that's right or wrong or whatever, but that's what is basically allowed right now. Yeah, you have to pretend it's name, image, and likeness, but we all know what it is. Other guys are getting paid around the country. It's not going to get you hit by the NCAA, at least not consistently. They've tried to hit some people, but then they don't have the money. And yeah, I'm totally okay with it, because I was reading the story this morning and I said it to J-Lo, like, what was going on. And I was like, man, I haven't seen this before. And she's like, can he do that? And I was like, well, he can just stop playing football. They can't make him play football. The most they can do, and I think the scholarships are like up at the end of the year. I think you get it for the full year based on what I know. So he's not going to get it renewed, but I don't know. Is he going to finish out school, or is he just going to transfer, or whatever?
Probably already has a degree. He played 4 years at Holy Cross.
Right.
Like, it's probably just grad school anyway.
But the scholarship's there, so he's still going to be on UNLV's campus for now, I guess. I don't know what he's going to do with it or where he's going to go, but he's going to use his red shirt. That was something that he dictated in all of this. But yeah, I like the move, because if the college coaches are going to try to pull one over on you to get you to transfer, then you got to use the power that you do have. And the power that you do have is, well, I don't play for you anymore because I don't have to. You don't have okay, I don't have a contract that I can go after you to get paid. Then you don't have a contract to go after me to make me play.
So Sluka is signed with an NIL agency, and I wonder if that agency would want to get litigious with it and sue the NCAA to allow him to play now if a school needing of a quarterback would stop by and say, hey, here's $500,000. We would like this to happen now, because if he's using his red shirt, I mean, I guess he can just he can just reset, like, I'm not using my red shirt, just kidding, I'm transferring here. But I wonder if you'd have to get lawyers involved to do that. I
think, and again, folks, this is...
Nobody knows anything. No, but this is a hypothetical. This is what I thought in my head as soon as this happened. I'm like, if he's saying he's using his red shirt now, maybe there's a chance if he wanted to have a lawyer go and say, well, that's not really fair to my client, so we're going to sue you, the NCAA, so you will allow him a waiver that would let him play immediately upon transferring to a new school. Because there's probably receipts.
Yeah. This gets a little Pepe Sylvia for me. It's a little bit of red yarn on a map and dots. And, my belief of this is that he can't transfer until the transfer portal opens in December. That is when he could find a new school. Now, what you're talking about is a hardship where was promised something and not delivered. Like, was any of that in writing? The head coach at UNLV is Barry Odom. He was a head coach at Missouri from 16 to 19. So he's the head coach there. The kid was promised something that has not been delivered. This is his only course of action.
There is a report now. It came out right at the beginning of our show here today from Carl Reed Jr. He writes for 24/7 Sports. He does, now this is just the report, but he says all financial commitments for UNLV QB Matthew Sluka were completely met. But after wins against KU and Houston, Sluka's family hired an agent, and they collectively feel that his market value has increased per source. To me, that sounds like school source.
That does. If
it's true, then it changes everything.
If that is the new... Let's do this for the sake of this conversation, because this is going to be a he said, she said now, right? UNLV is going to say, we gave him the money. There's no contract. There's no way of proving any of it. There's no way of knowing if he was compensated for what he was promised because it's all word of mouth. There's nothing in writing. There's no way of knowing if he's now trying to leverage them for more money. He is completing 43% of his passes, guys.
He's a good runner, though.
He's not lighting the world on fire, okay? He's not. So... If that is the case and he's trying to re-leverage, or his family is trying to re-leverage for more money, let's also realize that this is UNLV. This is not, I would bet a great deal of money that this is not him getting $500,000. It's probably $75,000 or $100,000. This is not, they are not funding him. They're not giving him seven figures. Like, that's not what's happening. This is going to be a minimal number. It's not minimal to him, but in the grand scheme of things, it is. It's going to be he said, she said between the two of them. But what it is, and the reason that we're talking about it today, is there are no guardrails currently around this sport in terms of how it's done on a day-to-day basis. There's nothing to protect the player. There's nothing to protect the collective. There's nothing to protect the collective's money. There's nothing to protect the program. It is truly lawless in that sense. And as long as that's the case, there will be more of this. And this will be something that happens for real to a team of real consequence with a player of real consequence in December. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Or they'll do like what is possibly being reported here about Matthew Sluka. Like, will there be the idea of like holdouts for guys like later in the season? Because it's not, that's the problem with it not being a CBA, not being regulated in that sense. You can't hold out in the middle of the season in the NFL. It doesn't make any sense. But you could in college. Why not?
Can. Because there are no contracts. I'm going to give you an example of an exact scenario that would make sense for what you just laid out. You'll also hear from Ryan Day, loaded up on a First Friday. Bishop and Friends right here in the Fan.
Death, taxes, and beating Michigan every damn year. This is your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. Have we spent enough time telling homeowners how much the name Eco can actually mean?
Well, I did name the company that, so yes.
I mean explaining that Eco can stand for how much better we can make your plumbing, ecologically speaking.
Get Eco.
ECO. A tankless water heater, for example. Switching to tankless means your family has unlimited hot water, shower after shower after shower, without having to use precious electricity to keep a big tank of water hot 24 hours a day. It's ecological.
Pretty good wordplay for a guy that almost failed English, don't you think?
Get Eco.
ECO. I think if more people knew they could help the planet just by taking a shower, I think we might be onto something.
That's not quite as ecological as the first thing you said, but okay.
You know, I'm working on inventing a new kind of junk mail that throws itself away.
And the planet thanks you, Jerry.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set a second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a Care Plan. See, with a Care Plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the Care Plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, 79 for your high, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of rain. Thursday looks dry with a high of 80, and then tracking showers and wind on Friday with a high of 81. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Chops, you laid out the we're talking this situation at UNLV and the Matt Sluka, who's the quarterback there, who played 3 games and then posted yesterday on social that the things that he was offered were not fulfilled. There is a report firing back from, I think you're probably right, from the UNLV side saying actually everything he was promised was fulfilled. And then we went 3-0 and now he wants more money. His family reportedly has hired an agent to help him with this, an NIL agent to try to recoup or try to make a little bit of money on the side. It's going to be a lot of he said, she said, which gets back to the root of the problem, which is there are no contracts and there's no way of holding anyone accountable or finding the real truth on much of any of this. I give you an example of one that would make where I could see this really coming into play. I think you have to find a situation at the highest level. You have to find a situation where you have a coach who is on the hottest possible seat. You have to think about a coach going into either a rivalry game with a quarterback who is kind of the reason that he still has a chance to have the job. And you have to think about the scenario and the power that quarterback would have. So as soon as you laid that out, as soon as you laid that out, I thought of Billy Napier, right, at Florida. And you think about if DJ Legway, and Mertz played great last week, but let's take Mertz out of it and just pretend for the sake of the fun of radio on a First Friday that Mertz is still hurt and DJ Legway has flashed and he has shown some signs, and he has. He's had some decent games. And let's say you're going into the cocktail party game or you're going into the Florida State game, and Legway is playing better and better each week. And there's some momentum, but also this program's hanging on by a thread. What is to stop Legway from saying, you know what, I'm not going to play in the cocktail party unless you give me $500,000?
Yeah, and that's what he can say privately.
That's the deal.
He'd have to cover it with, like how they do with the hold-ins in the NFL. You'd probably have to cover it with some sort of, my hammy's acting up, like publicly, because the school's initial response to that would be, well, it's not pay for play. We can't just pay you to play, but I think that would be an easy workaround. And anyways, they want him on the team. That's the difference with a player like that. They want him. So, yeah, I think that the quote-unquote holdout in college football could work mid-season.
Yeah. That's the scenario. That's the scenario where you could leverage yourself because the coach would. Now, the one thing about that, though, that's even interesting is in that example that I gave you, I don't even know if like the Bull Gator collectives would want Napier to stick around. They might say, perfect. Now we can get rid of him. And then they could give Legway the money and say, you stay, we'll find you a new coach. The point of all of this is that there is no safeguard right now. And this is the first example of this happening. But there will be more. There will be more. And it's going to be something that will crop up. We've talked so often about how broken the calendar is. It's going to happen in December for sure. That's coming.
And you mentioned that word safeguard. This is an example that there's no safeguard for the coaches or the teams or the schools either. Nobody has any safeguards. There are no real rules to this.
No. There's nothing to protect the collective. There's nothing to protect the player. There's nothing to protect the university. There are no rules. So as long as that's the case, this is what you're going to get. This is the first example of it, but I would expect there would be more to come on this, which is why if you go back to what we said at the top, the true course correction of this, save for an NFL model, will come from collectives with the lack of return on investment and saying, wait a second, I paid that. Imagine being a UNLV booster. And we look at this from the Ohio State prism, but let's say that you are a UNLV booster and Barry Odom came to you and he said, I really like this kid at Holy Cross. I think he's going to unlock our offense a little bit. Can you give me $75,000 to get him here? That's what he requires. You're like, all right, fine. You write the check and you give him $75,000 and the kid comes to UNLV. Well, all of a sudden, 3 games in, the kid's like, actually, I'm going to need more. And the collector says, wait a second. I gave you the money. That's what the money's for. What are you talking about? You need more. Nothing changed. This was our agreement, right? And the kid's saying, wait a second, something has changed. We're 3-0. We could maybe play ourselves into a Mountain West. Who knows? Maybe a group of 5. Who knows what goes from there? I'm the linchpin to this thing. Now my price is more.
And the problem is there's
no contracts.
And they can't put incentives into any sort of the deal, even if it's just maybe by word, but I don't know how you would handle that because it can't be pay for play. So even if he does hit certain incentives, you can't have that. Like you said, there's no contract. Anyways, what'll be really interesting is now that it looks like UNLV has their sources out giving their side of the story to reporters. What was the number? Will that match if they both say the number? And did they pay him in cash, or does he have transaction logs that dictate this? Because that's the only place I can see there being any sort of paper trail.
Like texts and stuff?
Yeah. Or, is there something there, too? Yeah.
That was what I was thinking. Like, because this feels like a very bold move for a quarterback that probably doesn't have a lot of people blowing up his phone. Does he have a text message or two? Does he have an email or two that would possibly connect any of this?
I think UNLV's going about it the wrong way, too. Like, don't fight it. Just if that kid wants to leave, just...
I don't know if they are.
I think they're trying to... I think what they're worried about, Chops, is they're worried about it getting out that they don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the last thing you can have is, hey, we get somebody to come here, and then our reputation is that they don't get what we promised them.
Yeah, well, do you pay? That's what we need to figure out.
Well, the thing is, we're never going to.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come from their side and his side. The only way it could come out potentially would do if there is a lawsuit, and then it's Freedom of Information Act. That's kind of the only way that any of this could come out.
Their emails
My guess
are
is
FOIA-able. I wonder if they emailed or anything. Yeah.
Barry Odom's would be.
Yeah.
So... that would be kind of the one way to be able to do that. But I assume that most of this business that's done via collectives is done kind of third party. I would assume that, I'm sure I know that's how it's done here. I assume that, Barry Odom is not directly doing this. He's probably having one of his underlings who has an underling, and they're doing it and connecting it all that way. But it's just a mess. It's a mess. And this is the mess that they created, and there's no safeguard for any of it.
And that is a fair point to make about the coaches. I don't know if a coach, every time that something like this happens, you mentioned Billy Napier, it obviously happened with him and Jaden Rashada and all that stuff that happened. I don't know if the coaches are always being nefarious. They might be told that, hey, we have this number. You can offer this to this guy, and maybe they offer it, and then the collective comes back and goes, actually, we weren't able to raise it. And that's a terrible spot for the coach to be in, too. But again, it's also murky still that we don't know exactly where whatever this scenario is. But let's take Sluka's point as, if that's what happened. Where was the miss there? Who failed to fulfill their promises?
Who?
Because the coach could be caught in the middle between a collective failing to commit its promises and then not being able to give it to the player, but he can't do anything. I guess he could pay $75,000 or whatever the number is of his own money.
I kind of feel bad for Sluka because it maybe, to me, he got bad information from what Urban like to say, a third uncle.
Yeah.
And, where does he go from here?
What is the market?
If he's just left in the wind and now can't play anymore. I mean, he'll probably land somewhere, but is it back to FCS?
If UNLV did pay him, he takes that whole lump sum, goes and puts it on red, and just hopes. And then it doubles.
Nick Papagiorgio style.
Right. Put a dollar in, won a car. Put a dollar in, won a car.
Yeah. No, it's I hope what this did is, and when I saw this story and I led with this off the top, I had no idea who this kid was. I was unaware that UNLV was 3-0. But it is the first of things that we forecasted would happen in the situation that we're in, that the adults in the room broke the model and refused to fix it because they won't call it what it is and because they won't search a real solution. And instead, it's one stupid half measure after another. And there will just only be more of this coming, and lots more. And it's going to happen at the highest level at some point. That Legway example I gave you, something like that will happen in the sport, and it's going to bite a program of real consequence. That will happen in the next couple of years. It could happen this December. Buckeyes open Big Ten play at Spartyland. Stephen Brooks, Behind Enemy Lines, coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale Wednesday, September 25th at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Windows, siding, APCO. Absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place. And aspiring comedian.
That's fun. What's your best joke?
All right, 2 windows were hanging out side by side. The first window says, "Sure is a hot day." The other one says, "Ah, a talking window."
That's pretty good, Wilson.
Bet you can't top that one.
Well, at Pella, we don't have the talking windows, but we do have the windows your friends will talk about.
Dang it, that's good.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
If you're obsessed with fantasy sports and gambling things, we have the slightly above average radio show for you. On the Money with Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas.
Presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Wednesday night at 8 on The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Ben Sadler, Assistant Vice President, Commercial Lending, on what makes First Bank of Central Ohio successful.
What we do as a community bank is really, listening to, that company, finding the solutions that best need their business and is not just a universal product that you could get anywhere else.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
And here's what's up here on a First Friday. We head behind enemy lines. Michigan State beat reporter Stephen Brooks joined us, 24/7 Sports. Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's just start with kind of a broad one to get us going here. How is it going so far with Jonathan Smith?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I would say as well as any reasonable fan probably could have hoped to this point. I mean, I don't know of many that really thought they were going to start 4-0, so at 3-1, like I said, it's about as good as you could have reasonably thought. It looks like the early returns of that they're a competent team, a competent coaching staff. They're sound fundamentally, I think, in some ways. And they've been for a group that has 61 new players on it that weren't on the 2023 roster, counting freshman transfers, all that. They've been really connected, I think, which has been a goal of Jonathan Smith in this staff to focus on culture and things like that early in their tenure, and they've been really resilient. First game out against FAU, they have to get 3 fourth-quarter stops to win that one. Next week, they have to go beat Maryland on a last-second field goal. Came back from a touchdown deficit 3 different times. And even Boston College, they were driving in the final minute to maybe do something there. So they've shown some impressive, I think, resiliency and resolve as a group that's just kind of been slapped together over the last 9-10 months. A whole bunch of guys that didn't really know each other, and obviously new schemes on both sides of the ball.
Did I hear that right? 61 new players?
6-1, that's correct. Yeah.
My God. I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, I see, you view things through a scarlet and gray prism down here, and the Buckeyes get a little bit of heck for bringing on 5 or 6 transfers. 61, that's unbelievable. When you think about the difference between what Mel was building there, and then obviously it ends the way that it does with off-field stuff, but to the Jonathan Smith era, what are the biggest differences that you see?
Yeah, so I've used this quite a few times, so I'll bust it out again here. But when Mark D'Antonio left and Mel Tucker came in, I used to say it felt like a sort of a family-run, like, corner store had converted into like a Fortune 500 company, just in terms of culture, approach, a lot of different ways. You can extrapolate that out. I think the pendulum is swinging back toward more of a D'Antonio family corner store type of thing. Like I said, they put a big emphasis on culture right away because of all the new players, but because of, even the returning players that went through some stuff last year, obviously. So they identified that immediately, basically, like, we got to get this thing right in the locker room, chemistry-wise. Got to, and that makes sense, right? You got 61 new guys. Now, that doesn't include true freshmen. That's not all just transfer portal.
Yeah.
But you got 60-something new guys. Like, you're not going to get anything done unless you get those guys on the same page and playing for each other. So I thought that was a good move there. And then the other thing is just, it was, Mel Tucker was trying to take big swings in recruiting, try to get involved in some battles with some big brands and some big money type of programs. And, didn't win them all, but won enough to sort of be interesting there. Never really got to see that whole project through. I mean, some of their better players now are Mel Tucker guys. So he did do some good things talent-wise, but he was interested in the big fish, the big swings, going down to Georgia and using his connections there, things like that. Jonathan Smith has said publicly several times he wants this to be a developmental program, which, again, is another Mark D'Antonio sort of trait. A place where guys can stay 4 and 5 years and get better. That's what he did at Oregon State. That's how he turned them into some winners after several years of sort of cultivating that. I think the question is, big picture, can you do that now? He started Oregon State in 2018, obviously a way different era of the sport than we're in today. Can you be this long tail, long development arc type of program? Can you keep enough guys for 4 and 5 years? Can you recruit the right ones out of high school if you're not throwing around huge pots of gold, every which way? So I think those are the major questions, but that's definitely what he's trying to do.
He brought his quarterback with him, Aiden Childs, who has some performances and some plays, and you go, my goodness, that's pretty special. But he's also turned it over 7 times on the interception side of things. What have you seen from him? What do you expect to see from him Saturday night?
Yeah, you nailed it. There's, play to play. It's like, oh, my goodness, that's an NFL throw. And then it's like, oh, man, that's, I wouldn't want to see that from my high school JV quarterback, that type of thing. So there's been some very, very good and some very, very bad. I think, like you said, like, the talent's obvious, though. When it's on and it's there, and it's like, holy crap, like, there's a lot to like about this guy and where he could be heading. I think he came in as not the savior, but definitely the face of this new program. I mean, Jonathan Smith, another difference from Mel Tucker. He's not seeking the spotlight. He's not trying to be a celebrity. He's not trying to do any of these things in the PR world. He's much rather just be in the film room, while breaking down quarterback play and stuff like that. So Aiden Childs really has kind of been the face of this new program. And for 9 months, social media, I'm sure when he's walking around campus, definitely in the NIL space. I think there's just been a lot that's reinforced to him, like, you're supposed to be the guy here. You're the man. Everyone's looking at you. And I think even coming out, I mean, his first pass was intercepted as a Spartan. I think he's all that to say. I just think he's been running a little too hot between the ears. I think he's been trying to be that guy, the man, the savior type of figure from snap one. And I think that's cost him. When you look at the interceptions, he's been picked off multiple times in 3 or 4 games that he's started. And even in the 4th, which was the 3rd game, the Prairie View game, where he technically didn't, he actually was, but it was just wiped away by a penalty. So he's got to clean that stuff up. They're obviously not going to be able to get away with several turnovers against Ohio State. The interesting thing about that is that you hear Jonathan Smith say, and it's been a little bit of everything. Some of them have been footwork, he said. Some of them have been misreading coverage. And then, of course, there's some of them you just tip your cap and guys make great plays defensively. But there hasn't been one consistent thing, and I don't think, if that's necessarily the best sign, I guess, if you're Aiden Childs. But he does have enough talent to carry you on a given day. We just haven't really seen it be consistent for 4 quarters yet.
Talking to Stephen Brooks, MSU beat reporter at 24/7 Sports. Stephen, this next month is the next 4 are monsters. Yeah. Buckeyes up there, obviously, on Saturday night. Then you go to Eugene, so Jonathan's old Civil War rivalry game going back out to Eugene. Then Iowa at home, then at Michigan. What is your gut on how this goes the next month? What's satisfactory?
Yeah, all preseason, all summer, I said that's an 0-4 stretch. I picked them to go 5-7. I did actually pick them to start 3-1, so we're on track with everything I said in August. But look, though, just the way the season's played out, I think it'd be a major disappointment for folks up here if they were to go 0-4 in this stretch. Obviously, this weekend doesn't look good. Obviously the odds are long out of Oregon too. But the way Michigan State has played, I think they've overachieved in some areas, especially on defense, I would say. But Iowa doesn't scare anybody the same way they did before. I thought maybe a new OC, Cade McNamara coming back. I thought they would get rolling a little bit offensively, or at least rolling relative to Iowa standards. That really hasn't happened. They don't look as threatening as they once did, and that's going to be a home game for Michigan State coming off a bye. So I think that people really think homecoming weekend. I think people really expect that to be a competitive game, and then Michigan no longer looks like the same threat. They broke out and beat USC last week, kind of backs to the wall there, but they still, I don't think they're a team offensively that you can really trust week to week right now. No. Defensively, still, it's very, very good. But if you're that much of a mess offensively and it's a race to 20 points, I do give them a shot, even if it is on the road. And they have a shot every year just because of that rivalry. We've seen weirder things there. So, I think there's a real chance. I would say the ceiling is 2-2, but folks up here definitely want to see them get 1 and maybe even, be competitive in the second half with an Ohio State, which I know is a low bar, but they've been getting their doors blown off by the Buckeyes lately. So even some progress there would be welcomed.
Steven, I got 30 seconds for you on this, buddy. Does it seem to you like Jonathan Smith is the long-term fit there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, the D'Antonio seems like a young Mark D'Antonio just with an offensive background in a lot of ways, and that's allowed people to buy in pretty early.
Great stuff. Really appreciate the insight and giving us a little bit of your time today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, Stephen Brooks, MSU beat reporter at 24/7 Sports on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Ryan Day was asked what bothers him about his football team, or rather, what he likes about his football team. You're going to hear the answer to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
I didn't expect to, but I need to get a new health insurance plan. The good news is I found Health Markets. I went to healthmarkets.com and saw plans available in my area. They have access to more than 200 carriers across the country. And if you need help, you can just speak with a licensed insurance agent. It's all right there for you.
Discover the advantages of real personalized service today at healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. Paid actor per trail.
Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Growing up in the family business, I've seen firsthand the joy and love that comes with finding the perfect engagement ring. For over 77 years, our family's been dedicated to providing the best quality, unmatched selection, and the guaranteed best price. From timeless classics to custom designs, we have the perfect ring for every love story. Let our family help you celebrate the moments that mean the most. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Morning Juice.
I think I saw Coach Lachlan in Locked Up Abroad. I think he was one of the guards in there. He's juiced.
Arms are popping out of those polos, man.
He's an awesome guy.
Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Affinity Whole Health.
Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. The fall deals at Germain Honda of Dublin are beautiful. The 24 Civic LX, only $249 a month for 36 months. The 24 Accord LX, only $279 a month for 36 months. With 10,000 miles a year on the lease, $34.99 cash cap reduction, payments plus tax, tag, and document fee, and away you go. How about 0.9% up to 36 months on the 24 Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda. For the best deal in town, Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
This college football moment is brought to you by Serve Pro.
In 2021, LSU finished with a disappointing 6-7 record. Luckily for them, a new head coach in Chip Kelly and a quarterback from Arizona State, Jaden Daniels, arrived in Baton Rouge. They lead LSU to the 2022 SEC Championship game and defeated Purdue in the Citrus Bowl to finish 10-4. Kelly and Daniels made that 2021 season like it never even happened.
Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. Fall is here. It's the perfect time to replace those old, drafty windows before the cold sets in. As temperatures drop, you don't want to be stuck with windows that make your heating system work overtime because that will cost you money. My guys at Universal Windows Direct back everything up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Plus 0% financing for 60 months. Restrictions apply because they always do. Call them today, 614-502-5220, or go to uwd.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, my friends, erectile dysfunction is an intimacy destroyer. Research shows that men can draw apart from their partners when ED affects the sex life, and the condition causes stress, anxiety, depression. Even worse, a man's partner can blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. And when dealing with the issues of erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific medical situation. Every case is going to be different. Finding the right treatment can be the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one. And that's where my friends at Tri-State Men's Health come in. They have treatments that work where the pills and herbals fail. In fact, treatments that work with a success rate over 90%. Do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town today. Your initial visit is $99. Includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider. Then you get that TNPSA test. And if you're medically advised, a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work, guess what? The office visit is free. So it's truly a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit tristatemenshealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and near Medical Mile in Westerville as well. So yesterday, Ryan Day had his press conference, and he was asked, this is about the run game, is the genesis of the question. Are you happy with where you are in the run game? Here was Ryan Day's answer.
Yeah, I don't feel good about anything. That's just my mindset. Yeah, I don't. That has to be everybody's mindset. You start to feel good about something, and complacency can sneak up on you fast. So nobody feels good about anything. I think we're building confidence in it, though. I think guys are starting to, okay, we can get after some people now. And they're starting to have a little bit of fun and say, like, I'm going to line up against you and get after you. And I think, to me, in the way the running backs are running, and, that you can feel that's palatable when you're out there. And so we got to keep building on that. Again, bigger challenges are ahead and all that. But that part has been encouraging, I would say.
Do you think, put yourself in his shoes, First of all, I think that's the real truth. Mm-hmm. He isn't happy with anything. He's like the rest of us. Like, how do you judge this team based on the opposition through the first month of the season in this oddly timed bye week? So you're going to get answers to what you're good at. You'll get some answers on Saturday night. You'll get more answers when Iowa comes here. You'll get a lot of answers when you go out to Eugene the week that follows. You're going to figure out kind of what this team is and what it's not. But when he says he's not happy about anything, he's not satisfied with anything, I believe him 100% because he's a football coach. So not only is he dealing with all the rest of the stuff that's around, he's trying to get a team ready week in and week out. It's 100% the real truth. This is the way football coaches think. Even when it's going good, we're not that good. And because of who you've played, you can't really judge what this team is or not. You know it's talented, but it hasn't been tested. So until you're punched in the mouth, you don't really know what you have. And from an offensive standpoint, truth be told, and I don't know that this feels like this number might be high. It feels to me at best Chip Kelly's running 35% of his offense of what it's capable of. It's been pretty simple to this point, and we haven't really seen Will run at all because they haven't needed to. So in terms of what they are, other than being extremely talented, we're not sure yet, and neither's their head coach.
There's a line in the original Men in Black movie back in the 90s where Will Smith says to Tommy Lee Jones, why do you have to be so secret? People are smart. And Tommy Lee Jones goes, a person is smart. People are stupid, erratic, they panic, all this kind of stuff. And I feel like that's what Ryan Day did. Is somebody asked, hey, the run game looks pretty good. And he goes, the players are good. But there is still a work in progress. There is still things we need to work on. Nothing feels good right now. And I think that's where he's at. And that's kind of where a football coach is always at. I mean, we talked just, I think this week even, about like the idea of like Urban Meyer won the national championship and was directly on his phone trying to get more recruits. Like it never stops trying to get better for a coach. So that's what he's always going to be striving for. So he's never going to sit up there and just say, yeah, I like everything that we're doing. And then you talked about Chip Kelly and opening up his playbook as the season goes on. I agree with you that I don't think we've seen it all because they haven't been pushed to need to it, obviously, with the margins that these games have been. And I know you like the passing chart. I was looking at an article on 11 Warriors today, and in that game, the only pass downfield was the interception. So you kind of forget that almost if you don't like actually look at it statistically because there were so many big plays. Correct. I feel like you'd be like, oh, yeah, of course there was a deep pass. No, they really have not opened up the deep passing game, especially in the Marshall game, but not completely at all. We've seen a few spots of it, but that I think is going to be something that's actually going to be a pretty big factor in this offense. Plus, we've talked about Will Howard running and just whatever else Chip Kelly has come up with, stuff I can't even predict.
Yeah, that deep ball to Jeremiah Smith felt like the only chance Ohio State's really taken offensively through 3 games in 4 weeks. And I know that's by design. We all know that's by design because they want to open up anything for an Iowa, for an Oregon, maybe even for a Michigan State that's going to offer something bigger of a fight than what you've seen in, said 3 games. But it doesn't feel like until January 21st you're going to get a pleased Ryan Day with anything. And that's probably how it should be, and that's probably how it is with Georgia and Kirby Smart. It's probably how it is with Oregon and Dan Lanning and everybody else who's looking at that January 20th game saying, yeah, we're playing in that.
No one's going to feel sorry for these guys. They're paid very handsomely now to coach the sport, and compensation is really nice. It's a lifestyle changer. As Forrest Gump said, it's one less thing to worry about, right? But at the same time, like the difference between the job of college coach and pro coach has never been bigger. As a professional football coach, provided your longevity here can be a lot longer. There aren't many examples of guys getting multiple years, 10 years at a place. That doesn't happen much around the league. But the quality of life, it's apples and avocados. When the NFL season is over, you've got exit meetings, and then you got some time. And then you got the combine, you got free agency, and then you got some time. And then you got the draft, and then you got some time. Then you do mini camp, and then you got some more time. There is no time. So when you say January 21st, you might be happy. They might be happy for an hour, provided they win the national title. But guess what he's doing as soon as that's over? Recruiting, NIL-ing. And that doesn't ever turn off. There's summers like that. There is no off switch anymore. There used to be an off switch for the sport. It's over. It's good for us, for what we do, but for them, there is no off switch for a coach.
It's funny because as you were describing like what an NFL coach gets compared to a college coach, the only like real world job that, tons of people have that I could think of is like teacher. And it's ironic because the coach that coaches at a school doesn't get the teacher schedule, but the one in the NFL does.
No, the NFL probably has the closest thing to a teacher's schedule. Now it's a 7-day.
It's hard when you're on, but you get
when
time
they're
off.
on.
Yeah,
and for both though, it's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
In season, it's all 7 days a week. But you can have some normalcy on the NFL side of it. There is virtually no normalcy to life on the college side of it.
They're more like a doctor. They're always on call. The doctor who is always on call. That's what a college football coach is right now.
Yeah, because you are NILing and recruiting perpetually. You are building roster perpetually. There are so many things that are off right now with it that this is what you get. So I believe him 100% when he says there's nothing I'm happy about. No, I'm sure there's not. And his happiness is going to be little moments after games, and then they're going to be on to the next. And he's got these things out there that he's staring down: the Oregon game first, then the Michigan game, then the Big Ten championship game, and then the playoff. Like, all of that stuff is in the future, and he's got to get to those points in a good frame of mind with this football team. So no, he's not happy. He's not going to be happy until potentially they reach their ultimate goal of winning it all. We'll do a little higher, lower coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
First down!
Oh, what? Just cleared that drain last week.
Well, clearly that didn't work. Would you please just call the waterworks?
At the Waterworks, we mean clean. We'll get your drains good as new on the first down. And as for him, well, there's always the Buckeyes. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which release dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at ColumbusSubaru.com, or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/30/24.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Eric Reeser. Number 3, Ohio State's a 24-point favorite on the road Saturday at Michigan State. First road trip for the 3-0 Buckeyes and Ohio State's Big Ten opener. Kickoff from East Lansing is 7:30. We'll have live fan pregame coverage Saturday morning starting at 10 a.m. Hear from Ohio State's head coach tomorrow at noon on the Ryan Day Show. In baseball, just 4 games remain for the Guardians and Reds, who meet tonight in Cleveland at 6:40. Guardians won last night 6-1, securing Cleveland a first-round bye and home field advantage in the ALDS. Cleveland could get that number 1 seed in the American League if they win out and have the Yankees lose out. MLB postseason play begins next Tuesday, and the Blue Jackets host the St. Louis Blues tonight at 7 in their second preseason game. You can hear that one on The Fan with coverage at 6:45. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI FCU. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
If you missed the top of the show, first of all, it's always available on the YouTube if you want to rewatch it. Also, wherever you get your podcast, you can check that out there as well. The Fan is now on YouTube, by the way. Watch your favorite shows live. Check out the videos and the YouTube shorts. How to find us, you head to YouTube and you search 971 The Fan. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fan's new YouTube channel. We talked about Matt Sluka. He's the UNLV quarterback, if you're just joining us, who bailed. They're 3-0. He says things that he was promised in the NIL world were not delivered. And so he quit. He quit at 3-0. He quit, and on the surface, I don't blame him, but it's more the mess of the sport from his side of it. Then there was a report right as we started the show from, I'm sure, the UNLV slant of this, that everything that he was promised, he was delivered upon. And now, Reese, what do we have? We have a brother involved.
So yeah, someone on X,
allegedly
Rob Sluka, and I think it's his brother because in his profile picture he's standing with his brother Matthew.
Well, Sluka's a very common name.
So,
this could be any Sluka.
He's a member. He purports to be a member of the Long Island Sluka clan, or House Sluka, and he is going. So Carl Reed is the reporter for 24/7 and CBS Sports, who said that Sluka's family hired an agent, and they collectively feel that his market value has increased. He says to somebody asking Rob, but at the end, don't make promises you have no business in keeping. And then Will Despart, who writes for the Sporting Tribune out in Las Vegas, says the rumor going around UNLV is that Sluka went to Odom's office at some point this week, demanded an increase in NIL, which Odom, the head coach of the Running Rebels, said they couldn't do. Thus, Sluka got angry and decided to utilize his red shirt and transfer. Rob tweets directly at him, can confirm that's not what he was asking for, simply just wanted what was promised to him when he committed. Don't twist the story.
And I looked at the Holy Cross website where this kid played 4 years before, and there is a Rob Sluka as noted as a brother. Now, that doesn't mean anything. Anybody could do a quick Google search and
does it have
play that game.
When did that Twitter account come to be? Was it September 2024? Because that would be
November of 2010.
All right, so that's a long-running one then.
That's a long one then. So it feels like there's some legitimacy to it. But this is going to be a mess, is the long and short of it. And there will be something to this effect happen to a program of real consequence at some point, whether it is during the season or in December. Something like this will happen at a higher level, a more consequential level at the sport, because, of course, there are no guardrails and there are no rules. And so there's nothing enforceable. There's no contracts. So it is what it is. Meantime, college football has never been more popular. Time to play a little higher or lower.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. The Waterworks, your undefeated team of plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling. Call 614-232-2222 today.
As we enter week 5 of the college football season, the AP poll are starting to come together with a little more unanimity. As at number 1, Texas remains from last week with 44 first-place votes. Number 2, Georgia's got 13 first-place votes, and the number 3, Ohio State, 5 first-place votes. At 4, Alabama. At 5, Tennessee. At 6, Ole Miss. So Tennessee jumps the Rebels for the fifth spot, after their win over Oklahoma. Higher or lower for any of those teams in the top 5?
Yeah, it's appropriate that Tennessee's 5. You could make an argument that Tennessee should be 4. Let's be quite honest. In the old days, when I've told you this many times, when I did the AP poll, it was week-to-week mentality of it. So what I meant by that was, what have you done to this point on the football field And what did you do this last weekend? Where are you right now as a football team? Us sitting at 3 is just based on the fact that Ohio State's really talented.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing on the field that is impressive. They have annihilated bad teams. They haven't covered twice, right? So that's the thing that's hard with this, because do I think Ohio State is on? I think there are 3 teams that are more talented than everybody else: Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State. And Ohio State may have more talent than anybody. We just haven't seen it tested the way we've seen Texas tested and Georgia tested. And they passed those tests. So they're in the right spot at 3. But you could make an argument based on my formula that both Tennessee and Alabama have accomplished more. In fact, it would be very difficult for you to argue that Ohio State has done more in the first month of the season than Alabama or Tennessee has. They both have passed bigger tests. Alabama went to Madison and won. Tennessee whipped NC State, and they went to Oklahoma and whipped OU. So you could make an argument that Tennessee should be 3rd, quite honestly, or 2nd. I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, it's really interesting as the AP poll changes throughout the season to see, well, where are we drawing the lines on this? Texas gets to jump up to number 1 because they get a really nice win against Michigan. Tennessee gets a really nice win on the road against Oklahoma, and they get to jump up. But not some of these other teams that Texas jumped, and it's why is the line there? What was different between the way Tennessee played Oklahoma and the way that Texas played Michigan? And right now they're kind of in the same ilk, I would say, as far as team rankings go. So I don't know. I agree with you that if Texas gets to jump up to number 1, and Georgia's got the win against Clemson, so they can be number 2. But if Tennessee moved up because of their win against Oklahoma, I think you should have moved them up ahead of Alabama and Ohio State. 2, because you have something to circle. You have something that they have done, not something that you presume. Not, do I think if they played on a neutral site, which is the dumbest thing people say. Don't rank teams based on if they played on a neutral site that they would be favored in this. That's not what we're doing here. That's a completely different thing. If you want to make a rating system of who would be favored, go ahead and do that. That, in my opinion, is not what they're doing here. So I think the lines are weird. Also, another line in that one is Georgia didn't play. Texas beat UTSA with a, granted, very, very talented backup quarterback and gained 10 more first-place votes. What changed your mind? From them beating
Arch threw 2 picks and was 50%.
Yeah,
but it's the name. It's the
Yeah, but why would you do Georgia number 1 last week? They don't play, and you go, I'm going to flip it.
I'm going to give my vote to Texas. Yeah, because they looked great against. Who did they? They wasn't UTSA. No, it was
UL Monroe.
Okay, UL Monroe. He came in.
He got hurt during UTSA.
Quinn got hurt, and then he was lights out against UTSA, and then he was middling against Louisiana Monroe, threw a pick on his first series. But that's the thing that's difficult about this, and that's why when we get to November, this is going to be fascinating how the College Football Playoff Committee views these teams, because they are not playing, to your point about neutral field and who's favored and all of that, that's all just subjective, right? It's just subjective. And because they are not playing similar data points, I don't know how you're going to do this. This is a mess. I mean, you cannot argue that Ohio State is playing the same schedule Georgia's playing. They're not.
No,
it's not theirs.
And then there's going to be pockets in the season where it really becomes apparent, which we're seeing right now with the way Ohio State started their season versus the other teams around them and who they've beaten, who they've played.
I mean, it's not. So I think what's going to be really fascinating is the loser of the Alabama-Georgia game. How far did they fall? Like Michigan went up 6 spots by beating USC. USC was ranked high because they beat LSU. Is LSU good? I don't know. I don't know if LSU's good.
I don't think they're that great. None
of those teams that I'm talking about
which
are
is
great.
Where those
none
teams
of them.
Are. Yeah.
None of them. But the question will be when the Georgia-Bama loser in the games in Tuscaloosa, the loser there, how far do they fall? Will they dare to put the loser there if it's a competitive game behind Miami? My hunch is they'll slot them in around 7 or 8 if it's a close game.
I talked about that last week. I've never understood why, if a higher-ranked team beats a lower-ranked team, why does the lower-ranked team have to fall? I don't understand why that isn't just like, yeah, we were right. Alabama is number 5, and Georgia's number 2. Of course Georgia beat them. Like, I don't get why that can't stabilize.
Reese will get to it because the bottom has a lot of that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just power through this real quick. 6 Ole Miss, 7 Miami, 8 Oregon, 9 Penn State, 10 Utah, 11 Missouri, like you said, 12 Michigan, 13 USC, 14 LSU, 15 Louisville, 16 Notre Dame, 17 Clemson, 18 Iowa State, 19 Illinois, 20 Oklahoma State, 21 Oklahoma. Both teams from Oklahoma, the Cowboys and the Sooners, fall 6 spots at 22 BYU. Higher or lower for any of the teams that I just mentioned? There's a lot of them.
BYU housed Kansas State, and they're 1 spot ahead of them. They housed them.
There's a lot of one-loss teams ahead of them, too, yeah.
Yeah, BYU should be ahead of Oklahoma State. It should be ahead of, what can Oklahoma do exactly other than have a brand? What can they do offensive? I'm not convinced that they can do anything. Another thing that I have a problem with here is, okay, Illinois moves up 5 spots appropriately from 24 to 19. That was a overtime game at Nebraska, and Nebraska's out. They're gone, vaporized.
And they were right in that. They just flip-flopped them.
They flipped them, except they moved them out. So they're not even the first others receiving votes. The other receiving votes is Washington State, who actually has a pretty quality win. They won at Washington. Indiana's undefeated. They were more dominant against UCLA than LSU was, and it was at UCLA, not in your backyard in Baton Rouge. Boston College, UNLV, topic of conversation. Then it goes Pittsburgh and then Nebraska all the way down there in terms of ranked. So I think that's the stuff that's really hard here. The other thing that's wild is Northern Illinois went from getting votes and being a top 25 team to no votes because they lost to Buffalo.
Everybody was just waiting for them to slip up and say, actually, we didn't believe that.
We have no interest in them. By the way, Notre Dame, who Northern Illinois beat on their home field, is 16th. They went up a spot. What are we doing?
When you actually like that's the problem with these polls and everything, that what actually happened on the field, guys? What are we rating here? And it's because we enter it with rankings at the beginning of the season, as we've talked about, and then there is just a lot of brand play in these things. For example, there are so many teams that aren't ranked that if they were 4-0 and played the way Indiana has, they'd be 11th. USC is that team right now.
USC would be ranked 8th in the country if they played the way Indiana played.
Indiana is 27th, kind of, if you look at others receiving votes, and I don't see a reason why they're not ranked, why all these one-loss teams are ahead of them. No, they might turn out to not be that good of a team, but that isn't cover for you not ranking them at this time. That's another thing that doesn't work. You can't just say later in the year they're like, oh, we were right about not ranking them. No, that just allows you to do what you're doing to Northern Illinois, which again doesn't make any sense if you're ranking teams. How is the team that they beat on at home, like you said, Notre Dame, that far ahead of them?
All right, this is a great one. This buttresses our point, and it goes to something we've talked about a lot. We talk about 9-3 better than your 11-1, and Sankey's going to make that case. Texas A&M lost at home to Notre Dame 23-13. Since then, they beat McNeese State. They beat Florida 33-20 in Gainesville. I suppose that's the one they hang their hat on because, Florida sucks. And then they beat Bowling Green 26-20, and they're ranked. Why?
Northern Illinois should be there, not A&M.
Why are they ranked? They're ranked because they have a big brand and they have a big bunch of passion, and it's good to have them there. But they have done nothing on the field that will legitimize them being ranked. This is why this 12-team playoff is going to be so tricky. It's going to be so tricky. It's why the metrics are not the same. Here's the other sneaky truth to it, fellas. It's why we love it. This thing's a beautiful mess. You got a 3-0 quarterback who left because he got discrepancy in name, image, and likeness. We got teams that are ranked over teams that shouldn't be ranked. We got a team that housed a team and is just 1 spot ahead of them in BYU and Kansas State. It's just arbitrarily throwing teams in here. It makes no damn sense. And yet, what you rely on most is the brands. We're lucky we do the show with a very big brand.
Real quick, that first team receiving votes is Washington State. They've got Boise State this Saturday. It's a 10 p.m. FS1, so get your late window in. If they win that, there's a chance Washington State goes undefeated. And they're in the Pac-12.
Very good chance.
They don't have a conference automatic qualifier.
No.
So
but would they be a group of 5, or are they no man's land?
They are essentially being treated as independents this year, Washington State and Oregon State. So they would steal a spot of an at-large. I think if they go 12-0 with a win against Washington, they'd be in.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Keep an eye on that.
What a sport. The NFL has rules, except when it doesn't. I'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Windows, siding, APCO. Absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
You want an easy way to feed your friends? You get a Jersey Mike's catering box. You want an exciting radio idea? You get me. Like this. There's a Jersey Mike's catering box off the coast of Corsica that needs rescuing. Me and a team of mercenaries go in, barrel rolling past the sleeping guard, and we find the catering box in a secret bunker. I say, men, let's get these 12 subs home. But they're already eating them. That's the problem with mercenaries. You can't trust them. The Jersey Mike's catering box, a sub above.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited truck month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on the Fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and the Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on the Fan app. Thank you and good night.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, partly the mostly cloudy with a 30% chance of rain. High 79. Tonight, low 64 under partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy on your Thursday with a high of 80. Tracking the remnants of what will be Hurricane Helene, possibly bringing us some rain and wind by Friday and Saturday. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey guys, it's Chops here, and I'm about to be a dad coming in February. It's the first kid, it's a big boy, it's a big deal. And honestly, I didn't think too much about my health before, but maybe, just maybe, somewhere in the back of my head, I knew that this was coming. That's probably why I dropped 95 pounds last year with the Awaken 180 weight loss. Perfect timing, because now I'm not lugging around all that extra weight. As kids can be running around my legs, I'm going to have to pick them up. We're going to have to get up in the night with the baby, but I know that I have the energy for it now because it has been a complete 180 with Awaken 180 as far as how I feel, especially physically, but also mentally and just fatigue-wise. It's really a life changer. It's fast, it's easy, and you'll keep it off thanks to the free support for life. So make the call I did. Call them 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com. Bishop and Friends, we're sponsored by Awaken 180, fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 weight loss.
Fantasy football is a lot of fun. I've done it for years. I have a group of buddies that we've been in a league since 2001. Buddies that I met down in Florida when I got down there, and it's really one of my favorite things. We don't see each other as much anymore, but we do get to keep in contact and have a little back and forth, largely because of fantasy football. A lot of people do it for fun, but it's also an enormous business, and it's part of the big deal that is the NFL, right? I mean, the NFL has so many things going for it from a business standpoint. Obviously, the once-a-week nature of it allows for stuff like us to be able to talk about it and make a big deal about an individual game and preview an individual game because you only play once. So it's a television sport. It's perfectly designed for that. In fact, when you go to an NFL game, the experience, I would say, if you can take atmosphere out of it, and that's only if it's a good one, the television experience is far better because you get replays and you don't notice the commercial breaks, which when you go to an NFL game, the commercial breaks are significant because, of course, they have to pay for it. So there's that part of it, too. It's perfect for gambling, right? There's that part that's a lot of fun. But the fantasy football is definitely a part of it. The San Francisco 49ers, I have a hard time believing that they were genuine in what they did in the lead up to this season in regard to Christian McCaffrey. Now, there are rules when it comes to the injury report, but NFL teams push these rules consistently. For example, a great example of this is you will get you'll get a depth chart from an NFL team, usually today. You'll get one from the Browns today, Bengals today. Every team in the NFL will give you a depth chart on a Tuesday or Wednesday. The depth chart is utter nonsense. It's put out by the PR people. It's not the depth chart of the coaches. The coaches don't even look at it. I can tell you that for a fact. They don't even look at the depth chart. They don't approve it. The PR people put it out to satisfy the NFL rules of you have to release a depth chart. The injury report is monkeyed with. So if you've listened consistently, one thing that I always say is watch for the Friday practice. That's the one to watch for. So, for example, last week, Myles Garrett missed Wednesday's practice, Thursday's practice. I said, watch Friday. If Myles doesn't practice Friday, then maybe you're onto something. He practiced Friday, Myles played on Sunday. So watch for the Friday practice. There are all these little tricks to getting around the NFL rules in terms of the injury report and the depth chart. Those rules are put in place to protect the integrity of the sport. Why? Largely for gambling, so that people know what they're betting on. That's really what it's for when it comes down to it. Should the San Francisco 49ers, let me rephrase, were the San Francisco 49ers genuine with the way that they handled Christian McCaffrey? I would argue no. They were not genuine.
I think what Jordan Mason shared with us was what actually happened.
Yeah. They were not genuine with the way that they handled Christian McCaffrey. There was nothing in August to lead you to believe that Christian McCaffrey's season was in jeopardy. Nothing. In fact, the injury report for that first week was that he was, I can't remember if it was questionable or probable on the Friday leading into the opener. But it wasn't until Monday Night Football when Jordan Mason had his day and he said afterwards, yeah, I knew Friday I'd be the starter, because through the weekend, the thought was that McCaffrey was going to play or give it a look. Now, I don't think that's a direct thing. My hunch is what happened there is a coach went up to Jordan Mason and said, hey, prepare yourself to be the starter. We don't know about Christian. But I also think that they knew more about the injury to Christian McCaffrey than that they let on. The reason I'm talking about this is because of largely fantasy football.
So here's
Christian McCaffrey. Hold on just a second, Reese. Christian McCaffrey went number 1 overall more than any other player in every draft, including mine. I picked him. And he's sitting there on IR getting his blood spun in Germany. Or he's not on IR yet, but he's in Germany getting his blood spun, so his Achilles is good.
I think the Niners did put him on injured reserve.
Did they finally?
Yeah, on like the 14th of September, I think was what I saw yesterday. But from September 9th, their first game of the season, I'm looking at Fox with the injury report. Questionable. Injury, calf, practice status, limited participation in practice.
Fantasy football is big business. It's big business, huge business. There's weekly fantasy. In baseball and in hoops and the other sports, there's daily fantasy. You're drafting a player, there's a financial impact to that. Like, I have fun with it. It's not an amount of money that's going to make me lose sleep. But for some people it is. And they should have been more honest and transparent about the way they handled him. Because not only is he on IR, Reese? Is that locked in?
It is, yeah.
So he's all right. So he's out at least the first 4 weeks. You had Shanahan yesterday saying, we don't know when he's coming back. Mm-hmm. We have no clue.
They didn't know the doctor he was going to go see.
No.
He's doing something on his own accord, which again says to me that, like, okay, this is a serious injury. Yeah, because if he can't, like, that's the first thing that keyed me. Not just that, oh, yeah, you can go get your blood spinning in Germany, but, like, you're in the San Francisco Bay Area. You should be able to find an orthopedic doctor that can help you with a normal football injury. And now this appears to have elevated to not normal and possibly season-threatening.
Should the National Football League hold the 49ers accountable or do we just take them at their word that they didn't know it was this bad?
I don't know.
It's gray.
What has
it's gray area?
Because
shades of gray
have gotten in trouble for the injury report for. So I wonder what those punishments were and how those compare to this one. Because you can't punish it just because the player's better more, can you? How do you acknowledge that?
I don't know, and I don't know how you could ever prove that they were duplicitous in this. I don't think they were all the way honest in week 1. I'll tell you that. I think they probably had a pretty good idea. If they put him on IR and he's now in Germany getting blood spinning for his Achilles, then they knew the first week that it was much more serious. And what did you say, Reese? Probable is what they listed him as?
Questionable.
So questionable, but a limited participant, right? How do you define limited? How do you define limited?
They just come out there with a helmet,
shoulder pads and a helmet. I'm here, but it's limited.
Yeah, it's not great. It is not great at all what they did. And for them, I mean, they've got a cavalcade of injuries, and he's the most important. But, I mean, there's a ton of them there. But something to watch for because one thing the NFL protects, the shield, the integrity of the shield, all of that stuff, shield before anything. This is a very interesting thing that's happening out in San Francisco. Jake Trotter on the college football side of things coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jerry.
Have we spent enough time telling homeowners how much the name Eco can actually mean?
Well, I did name the company that, so yes.
I mean explaining that Eco can stand for how much better we can make your plumbing, ecologically speaking.
Get Eco.
ECO.
A tankless water heater, for example. Switching to tankless means your family has unlimited hot water, shower after shower after shower, without having to use precious electricity to keep a big tank of water hot 24 hours a day. It's ecological.
Pretty good wordplay for a guy that almost failed English, don't you think?
Get Eco.
ECO.
I think if more people knew they could help the planet just by taking a shower, I think we might be onto something.
That's not quite as ecological as the first thing you said, but okay.
You know, I'm working on inventing a new kind of junk mail that throws itself away.
And the planet thanks you, Jerry.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Friday night in the Buckeye State means only one thing: high school football, baby. Join Ryan Baker and Coach Lee Cochran for Byers Dublin Subaru High School Overtime.
Friday night at 9:30.
Your home of all things football, The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and orthopedic specialists in sports medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Ready for the best car buying experience of your life? Visit KriegerFord.com today. Explore our amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Service and parts available when you need us. Come experience the Krieger commitment. The best cars, the best people, peace of mind. Visit KriegerFord.com now.
To Central Ohioans, fall means one thing, football. At Sears Heating and Cooling, fall also means one thing, furnaces. We're not plumbers or electricians. Nope. For 74 years, we've been your Central Ohio heating and cooling experts. Need an electrician or plumber? We'll gladly give you a referral, but we won't pretend to be your one-stop shop for all the trades. We're HVAC experts, and our mission is to provide the highest quality service at the best possible price. That's the local advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears Heating and Cooling. Online at SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is. He's your senior college football writer for ESPN. He joins on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline every single first Friday at this time. All right, I'm going to ask you a question, buddy. When you went to bed last night, did you know who Matt Sluka was?
I actually did, but I had no idea. What a wild story. UNLV having a season for the ages, and all of a sudden they're going to lose their starting quarterback who's been a driver of it all. Bizarre story for Barry Odom, who's the head coach out there, used to be at Missouri. Ada, Oklahoma native. That's a mess.
It's a total mess. I talk about college football every single day for the majority of the 3 hours that we do this show. I didn't know who the kid was, but I did warn that this would happen, Jake, and it will happen at a program of bigger consequence and significance down the road. There are no guardrails in place of any of this. Now that, and by the way, I should say your compatriot Adam Rittenberg at ESPN has spoken with Matthew Sluka's father, and the quote and what he's reporting here in just the last 5 or 6 minutes, that Matthew Sluka telling his dad telling ESPN that his son's agents agreed to an NIL deal with the school back in February, never received payments despite requests, never asked for any adjustments to the original deal. We have no idea what the hell happened, is the quote from Sluka's father to your coworker Adam Rittenberg at ESPN. We saw this at Florida with Jaden Rashada a few years ago. In terms of this, can you see this happening in December to a playoff team, or in November to a rivalry team? Hey, if I can't make this right, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean, probably the power schools like Ohio State or Penn State or Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, et cetera. Something like this happening there, and I'm not saying it'll happen at like a Boise State or, maybe a second-tier ACC school or Big 12 school, but you could see it happening. And you're right, it happened at Miami. So anything is possible. There's no recourse if end up meeting the offers that they've made to these players. It's kind of almost an honor system, right? Like you can't say, well, you owe me for back pay. I mean, really your only recourse is to do what this UNLV quarterback is doing. So I think we're going to get to a point where we have a little bit more guardrails on this than we do right now. Like it's kind of heading in that direction with the House settlement. But I think when the schools are in charge directly of making these payments, hopefully we'll see less of this. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, can you imagine if Boise State makes the playoff and all of a sudden they lose their star running back because his NIL payment wasn't met fully? That would be crazy. But this is crazy enough because if you're looking at who out of the group of five is on track to make the playoff, UNLV is on the very short list of those teams. So this already is having an impact potentially on the playoff.
Well, the example I used too was wait till there's a coach on a hot seat. I mean, think of Hugh Freeze or Billy Napier or somebody like that. They're on a hot seat, and a quarterback. Like the only reason Napier's at Florida still is because DJ Legway is there. You imagine like going into the Georgia game and Legway's like, "Yeah, I'm not sticking around unless I get my money now." I mean, like those type of, or I need an increase to stick around, those type of things. That's where we're headed in this thing, and all the adults in the room let it get here. I mean, this is just taking advantage of the system.
Yeah, and I think in this case, it's not necessarily, if we believe what Adam is reporting from the dad, it wasn't that the player came back and tried to make an adjustment after a hot start. This was what was agreed to, and you guys haven't met what was agreed to. Now, it will get really crazy, like you said, if we get to a point where there's maybe a player who came out of nowhere to be a star and is holding out for a better NIL package in season, which, I think most schools, and Mike Gundy's talked about this, like we'll negotiate in December. Like tell your agent to stop calling. Like we do all this in the offseason. I think most schools handle their business that way, but there's nothing stopping from players holding out. We see it in the NFL all the time, and you could potentially see it in season during college like this.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. Talking to the great Jake Trotter, ESPN national college football writer. I wanted to talk to you about the two big games from the weekend in terms of conference openers. USC going up to Michigan and being just kind of bludgeoned, and Michigan unable to throw the ball. Let's start there. Sharon Moore. Look, we can't throw it. We're just going to run it. USC couldn't stop them. I thought USC would handle them up there. If they just tackle, they could. What did you make of those two teams, as obviously Lincoln now in year 3 there trying to build some momentum, and then Sharon trying to have a respectable year is what he's chasing a little bit there. What did you make of that game?
Well, my big takeaway was Michigan found an offensive identity. Now, is it going to be an identity that carries them to the Big Ten title? Probably not, but at least they have something that they can lean into, which before, if you watched them, they were all over the place. Like they're trying to throw the ball. They couldn't really run it effectively. They were playing, probably the wrong running back most of the time. And in this game, even without Colston Loveland offensively, and I think he's going to help them a lot with this type of scheme when he gets back as maybe the best tight end in the country. Now you've got an identity with Khalil Mullings, who I didn't even realize was a senior. Like, he's been around a while.
I know it.
And it's cool to see a guy like that just, who's been around forever as a backup star in such a big game like that. But, tough runner between the tackles. We're going to be in heavy personnel. We've got Alex Orji at quarterback who can run the ball a little bit. And you know what? We can't pass it at all, but we are going to run over you. And if anybody can do it, it's probably going to be Michigan. So I thought that it was a great win for Michigan, kind of salvaged their season a little bit in a way. If they lose that USC game, I didn't know where that season was going to go, especially if they look terrible offensively again. And, I still kind of feel like this could be a 9-3 team, which, in a rebuilding year would be a terrific season for a first-year head coach in Sharon Moore. We'll see if they can keep it going. It's going to be hard to win a lot of games just foregoing the forward pass in the year 2024, but we'll see if they can do it. With USC, it was just a terrible loss because they were in command most of that game, had the pick six, which was a killer. And then even then, you've got a team that can't throw on its own 11-yard line, or 11-yard line, with just 3-4 minutes left. All you got to do is tackle, and they couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And once Mullins reeled off that, 63-yard run, 64-yard run, you knew Michigan was going to score because USC they were not going to be able to stop Michigan's running game at that point. So this was the concern with USC and the Big Ten. Physically, could they match up? And right now, the answer is no. So they got Penn State in a couple weeks, another physical team, a team that can actually throw the ball. That's going to be a huge game for both Penn State and USC. And I think if USC loses that game, it could end up being kind of a long year for them when it looks so promising after that LSU win.
You made your bones. You're the Boomer Sooner, and you were on that beat. You're an Oklahoma native. I thought, and maybe I read into it, did Heupel take it easy on them? Because I think he could have almost named the score. I think Tennessee could have done whatever they wanted against Oklahoma. He settled for some field goals, didn't go for some fourth downs. Did he go easy?
I don't know if he went easy. I mean, he certainly could have been more aggressive, but I think the thing was Josh Heupel looked at the game and said, well, they're not scoring on us.
Yeah.
So as long as we, keep taking field goals and padding this lead, we're going to win going away. So I think that he became conservative offensively and in some of the decision-making because Oklahoma's offense was just completely inept. Now, Tennessee's defense is going to make a lot of people look that way. Tennessee is the real deal. And I think that is a team, if you're looking outside, the Georgia, Ohio State, Texas tier of teams that could win the national championship, Tennessee could be that good. And they've got a terrific quarterback, but their defense, I mean, when did Tennessee ever have a defense like this? It is fast, physical, and they are tough on the defensive line. But to Oklahoma, I mean, this was the fear. You go into the SEC, you're probably not going with your best foot forward. And Tennessee wasn't even a game that you really chalked up as a loss when you were looking at the schedule.
No.
Now they've got at Auburn, which Auburn's got its own problems. You referenced Hugh Freeze earlier. But if you don't win this game, and I don't think against any Auburn team winning Jordan Hare is an automatic, you're looking all of a sudden at 5-7, 6-6, which would just be a disastrous year for Oklahoma in their first year in the SEC. And I think the discouraging thing is they thought they had their quarterback of the future in Jackson Arnold. Dylan Gabriel went to Oregon. I don't know how much of a factor it was that Jackson Arnold was there, but it felt like they were okay with turning the page last year to Jackson Arnold. Well, he's already been benched for Michael Hawkins, who was, not the highest recruited quarterback recruit in the country, but at least can run around. They're a disaster offensively. They can't protect. There's really, outside of Deion Burks, the Purdue transfer, they just don't have a lot of scary players at the skill position, and now they have a quarterback controversy as well. Could be a really, really long year for Oklahoma, especially if they do not win this weekend.
You're the best, buddy. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate you.
Okay, see you, buddy. Take care.
That's our buddy Jake Trotter, ESPN senior college football writer on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Thing or not a thing coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
The Columbus Men's Clinic opened in 2014 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Columbus Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for a decade. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. You'll be seen by our friendly, discreet physician who will take the time to listen. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 614-300-7400 or go to ColumbusMen'sClinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. ColumbusMen'sClinic.com. Book your appointment now.
Shop new dollar deals at Meijer. $1 is all you need when you shop hundreds of participating items, like select bell peppers, Swanson broth, or Campbell's soup, and 1.25 liters of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, all just $1 each. That's it. Pay just $1 on select items with Meijer dollar deals for a limited time. Limit 10 per item. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it. But there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at byersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Windows, siding, APCO, absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a First Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, first one today. It was a little bit earlier in the week, but I heard this sound and I just had to share it with you guys. Here's Auburn head coach, a guy you may have heard of, Hugh Freeze, during Tiger Talk this week on the Auburn Sports Network.
And those are the truths of the game, and and it's the truth for me too. I'm not, because we've got to get them to where the winning ways are happening on those critical downs. I mean, no offense whatsoever to Arkansas or to Cal. I love Sam Pittman. I hope he wins the rest of his games. But I'm telling you, the hard truth is we play them 9 more times, we beat them 9 times. And that's what's hard to take. And it's hard for our fans, I'm sure, and it's certainly hard for us. And you have 460-something yards, and we only had 50-something plays of offense because we turned it over 5 times. And it's just it's frustrating.
The Tigers lost to Arkansas 24-14 on Saturday. Thing or not a thing?
This guy's such a clown. This is why Hugh Freeze is the coach at Auburn. This is it. It's pretty straightforward. Remember, he got fired at Ole Miss because he had an affair with a mistress, prostitutes, that type of stuff, and it was uncovered.
On top of recruiting violations as well. But they were cool with this.
They're not so worried about that. They're not worried about the recruiting. This is the Deep South shops. They're not worried about the recruiting violations. Recruiting is the reason he's at Auburn. He recruited the number 1 class in the country to Ole Miss. There is nothing on his actual coaching resume that would lead you to believe that Auburn should have given up everything to get him. Here are his SEC records at Ole Miss. He went 7-6, 8-5, 9-4, 10-3, and 5-7. He played in one at the time BCS bowl game, the Sugar Bowl. At the time, that was 15. That's it. He is the coach at Auburn because he recruited at Ole Miss, and they thought he could recruit at Auburn. That's why he's the coach. Nothing more, nothing less. This guy's a clown. This is a clown answer, and now the hot seat is as hot as can be. He went 6-7 in year 1. They're 2-2 now, and they're staring down the barrel of what could be a very long season there. Meantime, Kalen DeBoer, they finally get rid of Saban, and DeBoer and that team look really, really good.
It's the hard truth that we played the 1 out of 10 that we lose. That's crazy to say.
Talk about things being hard to take. Here's an L, Hugh Freeze. Sit on it for the rest of the year, you moron.
He did coach from a hospital bed that one time at Liberty, so he has that
in the press box.
It was unbelievable.
It's not like he was walking on water to coach his team.
Oh, my God. How about the duplicity of the fact that he then went to, after the stuff with the prostitutes and the dishonesty and the recruiting and all of that, guess who hired him? Liberty.
Right.
I mean, my goodness.
Who has, the same type of, for people who don't know, Liberty has the same type of, what's that, honor code that BYU has. It's
they can't drink alcohol.
But there's a very similar thing. That's something that university pushes. But apparently for their football coach,
nope.
There's a documentary on Hulu about Liberty that's worth a watch.
Yeah, I bet.
Not safe for children, though. The White Sox beat the LA Angels 3-2 last night in Chicago. During the game, the White Sox reportedly flashed a graphic on their scoreboard, "Veronica, will you marry me?" Now, there was no accompanied kneeling. We don't know if Veronica said yes or no. It was in the 5th inning with the Angels leading 2-1. Just imagine for a sec, you're going to propose to your girlfriend or significant other in what could be a historic loss for the White Sox. But they did end up winning that game and are 37-120. They need to lose one more time to be all alone in the all-time single-season loss category. Thing or not a thing?
I'll tell you this.
So they got 5 left. They got Angels the next 2, and then 3 at Detroit, and that's how they close it out. They are going to lose again. They're not winning 5 in a row. Isn't this the first time they won when they trailed after 7 innings too, Reese?
I believe so.
Yeah. So don't worry. More's coming.
I want to just throw this out there because it's been discussed on X. If you are the White Sox, and with the Veronica proposal being the thing that you didn't lose that game, for the rest of the season, just home games, are you having a proposal in the 5th inning?
Let me ask you this, because this is your sport of record. Do they want the record? Like I've heard Mike wants them to be the worst team ever.
He wants the record. They do not.
The White Sox do not. They already share it.
You could hear sell the team chants through the television broadcast. So, this is driving White Sox fans to games in more droves than if they were just an 80-90 loss team.
Yeah.
So, we said a couple months back, this is the most interesting they've been since 2005, 2006. But no, the organization does not, despite, I think, White Sox fans like Mike probably wanting that record.
I have their, I'm not paying attention, obviously, but the White Sox started the second half with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 straight losses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say wins.
Can you imagine?
That's terrible, yeah.
I mean, when you have I just have their second half schedule up. Oh, my God. I mean, oh, my God.
If they hit the history, that'll be something. You can put that in the books, and then I guess the 2004 White Sox can pop bottles of champagne every time a team wins their 41st or 42nd game, whatever it would have to be to not be able to get the record. But when Reeser was reading that, I was thinking right here, just, you know what that sound is? That's me ripping the tinfoil to make my hat. Veronica never existed. This was something the White Sox did to just get people happy at the stadium because there's nothing to be happy for. And now they can throw that out there. But they did happen to win the game, so now they're stuck with Veronica, and they are going to have to say, Veronica, will you marry me? Which means they will now have to hire actors to do it. And that, I believe this conspiracy that I just made up.
They've won. So you're actually not the first person to think of that conspiracy because it's much like Ohio Stadium when they replaced the kicker in the second half. You had fans cheering for the kickoff that went into the back of the end zone instead of out of bounds. It's a sarcastic cheer, but they've won 10 games in the second half.
I mean, that doesn't even. They play 81 games.
Yeah, that's not a passing grade. I was told by J-Lo also that I could not propose on a video board at a sporting event.
Good for her. Good for her. I mean, each to their own, but
Yeah. And I asked. That's also a good piece of advice. Just ask. If you're thinking of something, ask.
Yes. We'll do a little, hey, guys, get your officially endorsed Bishop and Friends coming up next.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which release dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Barely 5 hours a week. It's how much time most of us spend outdoors. Not nearly enough time getting lost in canopies of breathtaking fall colors. Brilliant hues extending all across America's third most forested state. We could all use a little more time outdoors, soothing mind, body, and spirit in West Virginia. Plan your fall getaway at wvtourism.com.
Hello, I am a serious announcer hired to deliver a serious announcement. Get an Apex Pros winter tune-up for your furnace right now for only $29. Notice we are simply giving you the facts. Just $29 to make sure your furnace is ready for the upcoming Ohio winter. We know how you enjoy our usual fun and funny commercials. Hello? Beg pardon? Well, I see no reason to bring my mother into this. Good day to you, sir. Where was I? Oh, yes. A $29 tune-up will make sure your furnace runs safely and warmly all winter. That's serious. I'm serious. That's why we're not doing the usual that you've come to expect from Apex Pros. None of this or this nonsense. $29 for a furnace tune-up from Apex Pros. The pros who knows? Is that really how you say it? The pros who
Apex Pros, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty interior paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when intended to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Color Collection.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets resume preseason play tonight. CBJ are on home ice hosting the Blues. Face-off from Nationwide Arena is 7 o'clock. Full of live fan pregame coverage on the Fan at 6:45. Jackets are 1-0-1, after falling to Buffalo 6-1. Columbus will head to Washington on Saturday. CBJ open the regular season 16 days from now in Minnesota against the Wild. In baseball, the Guardians host the Reds tonight at 6:40. Cleveland beat Cincinnati last night 6-1, thus retaining the Ohio Cup for another year. The win also clinched home field advantage for the Guardians in the ALDS. Cleveland will wrap the regular season on Sunday hosting the Astros. MLB postseason play begins next Tuesday. And in the minors, the Columbus Clippers play the Omaha Storm Chasers tonight in Game 2 of the IL Championship. A Columbus win tonight sends the Clippers to the AAA National Championship. This update sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. From F-150 to F-750, Valley Ford of Columbus is Ohio's commercial truck headquarters.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Boy, a lot of layers to this Matt Sluka story. Pete Thamel with this now, former UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka's NIL representation. Marcus Cromartie of Equity Sports told ESPN that Sluka was verbally promised a minimum of $100,000 from a UNLV assistant coach for transferring there. None of that, by the way, I had that number. None of that money was paid. Once Sluka enrolled there was no effort by UNLV Collective to formalize a contract of that amount. Months after Sluka enrolled, Camaraderie made multiple efforts with the staff and school to address the issue. He said the school and Collective came back with a contract of $3,000 per month for the next 4 months. That's $88,000 less than what UNLV verbally promised. Verbally promised is so tricky. The only money Sluka has received from UNLV per Cromartie is $3,000 relocation stipend for his move. Cromartie said there was never an ask for more money after UNLV's hot start, only an initial amount that he was promised. When that didn't come, he evaluated his options, decided to play somewhere else next year. The redshirt will allow him to play a full spring at a new school and develop with a trainer this fall. He enrolled in July after UNLV, graduating from Holy Cross in the spring. So take that, LV.
This is why, now they haven't responded to it directly, and I'm sure that will have to go through channels, but don't go through the sources route for somebody who already has a lawyer who was working on this beforehand.
Right.
Because that's already, this guy didn't write that today after that sources came out.
The thing that's so tricky is it's the verbal promise of an assistant. Like, how do you, what a mess.
Handshake deal, I guess, right?
Yeah, it all is. Let's play a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
And the winner here gets that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. And when you're talking about High Bank, you're talking about the home of the best blended whiskey in America. 3 years running. It is right here in town. The winner, $50 and a free distillery tour and a tasting for $10. You can find High Bank's award-winning local spirits at a liquor store near you. You're learning more about the Whiskey War line and the Midnight Manhattan, which is absolutely ready to go. The ready-to-drink cocktail, the Midnight Manhattan, it is ready. It is just put it on a shelf. You pour it after dinner, you win. It's a HighBankDistillery.com for more information. Go ahead, fellas.
First one today is from Jason. Hey, guys, would you rather have the Browns with Joe Burrow or the Bengals with the Browns defense?
Well, I think the Browns with Joe Burrow is go win the Super Bowl, and I think it's probably similar the other way. I think if you put the two teams together, if you do that either way, you win the Super Bowl. I do think what you could argue here is which fixes the other team quicker. Competent defensive play out of the Cincinnati defense, or competent offensive play out of the Cleveland offense. That, to me, so I get my answer to that part of it would be if the Browns had competent offense, they would make the playoffs. But if the Bengals had competent defense, they could win the Super Bowl. That, to me, is the difference.
Yeah, but is Joe Burrow on the Browns above competent? And
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
they'd win the Super Bowl with him.
Yeah,
for sure. Yes,
so,
no doubt.
I think the point is that Joe Burrow's a lot better than Deshaun Watson. The Browns defense is a lot better than the Bengals, and we now know this.
I think the point is that Joe Burrow is one of 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the league who, if I have him on my team, I go to bed at night saying I can go win the Super Bowl.
Yes, because
even with competent offense, there's a ceiling. Like there was a ceiling to Flacco. Because you weren't going to go beat Kansas City.
And that's why the answer is, I mean, either way, you're going to get Joe Burrow, but it's Joe Burrow with the Browns defense because the Browns defense is a little bit better. Joe Burrow knows what he's doing in that offense. Both offensive lines have their issues. So I would bring the Browns defense over to the Bengals, I think, if I had to answer the question. But yeah, it's the Joe Burrow is just the crux
Burrow's
of the whole
the
thing.
answer.
Yeah.
He's the answer because he's the great one. Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, like all the rest of their weapons and everything, I mean, it's the Burrow.
I think the more interesting question is what level of defense do the Bengals have to get to?
Competent.
So the defense just has to be competent. Yeah.
That's why I set it up that way. Like it's if Bengals defense is competent, they can win the Super Bowl. If Browns offense is competent, they can make the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, it's nine's the nine's the cure all here.
Yeah.
And I think with for the Bengals, like, if they can go out and I think they were dealing with some health issues on their defensive front, and I think if they can get those right and acquire a piece at the deadline that can be a depth guy in that front seven, they can fix a lot of things if they just find their first win in Carolina.
What's the limit on how much you can trade? Can you trade an entire defense for somebody's entire defense? Like, what if they just colluded and said, we're going to make this great Ohio team and one of us is going to get them?
I'd be fine with that.
11 for 11.
Yeah.
Just an 11-man trade between the Browns and the Bengals. Troy with the next one. Hey, guys, what's your favorite college football road game experience? Tailgating, atmosphere, game, etc.
Listen, you're not going to go wrong. And Bob, it's funny. So I was texting with Bob. Bob was in Baton Rouge this weekend and took in a game down there, and we were texting back and forth. And I mentioned this on Monday's show, and he and I were talking about it. And so I've always said that consistently, Ohio Stadium is the best game day experience in the country. Consistently. Like, whether you're playing Marshall or Michigan, it's great. Now, the high end is not, to me, it's great, but it's like the Michigan game is awesome. A night game against Penn State is awesome, but is it as loud, for example, as like Happy Valley? No, it's not, but it's consistently the best. So that's probably the easiest answer for it is you're not going to go wrong at Ohio Stadium. You can go to any game and you're going to get a pretty cool thing. You're going to get a band. You're going to get Script Ohio. You're going to get what you get at halftime. You're going to get all of the pomp and circumstance that surrounds it. The best, you can't go wrong with any of the SECs, any of the big ones. Like, I've been to most of those places. Now, I've only been there for the big games, and those are all electric. Penn State's really cool. The thing that sucks about Penn State is you got to stay in a dump hotel. That's just the reality of it because it's in the middle of nowhere. But it's a really cool tailgate experience, and it's a really cool visiting game day. Probably my... God, I'm trying to think about all of the places. You would do... I'll tell you what would be the most fun. This is what I think would be the most fun for, like, if you didn't have a dog in the fight at all, and the cocktail party's pretty great. Yeah. When they're both pretty good, it's great because it's a 50-50 representation. Everyone's there for the party. You party on the river down in Jacksonville. There's tailgating forever around the stadium. It's a really cool experience. But really, there's a ton of them when you think about going to campuses that all hit.
Yeah, like the Red River rivalry would also be a really cool experience, but I don't know if you get the tailgate experience. You'd be at a fair, and there's plenty of food for you to partake in. I bet it's a good time, but yeah, it wouldn't quite feel like a tailgate. I'm thinking most of the Big Ten places I've been have been for student broadcasting when I was in school, so I've been to a lot of stadiums, but not really experienced a lot of the tailgating. I've been to Kinnick Stadium for a game as a fan, and the Iowa one, but that's obviously really biased for me. Like I see people I know. I saw a former player at one tailgate. My dad knows some people in alumni stuff, so we had places to go. So I don't feel like that one's fair. But I will say is we didn't get a broadcast credential for Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech that year in 2015, but we did get credentialed. So we're like, let's just go. It's a cool thing. It's over Labor Day weekend. Let's just go. And we just kind of covered the game, live tweeted it, whatever. So I had more time. I didn't have to prepare. We didn't have to do a pregame show, all that stuff. I had more time, and that was a really fun trip. So Virginia Tech stood out to me as really cool, and I even went up to some tailgates and introduced myself. I was wearing like a tie or something. I was like, hey, I'm a student broadcaster at Ohio State. People were really friendly, so that was pretty. Most people are. Yeah, most people are. Yeah, if you're kind to them, they'll most likely be kind back. And that was a really cool experience, and that's the closest I've been to a Southern experience. I know Virginia, as far as like northernness, doesn't seem so Southern, but everybody knows that like that state has it. But it's more the Cavaliers than Virginia Tech. But it was a little bit of that vibe, at least. Much different than the Midwest, I guess.
I'll say this: the Red River Don't Call It a Shootout is at the top of my list in terms of like the sports bucket list thing for college football. And I did some price research to go to this year's event, thinking, well, Ohio State's going to Oregon, so like my services might not be like 100% necessary for that weekend. And it would have been one ticket to get plane, hotel, anything else. You're at minimum $1,500.
Yeah.
It's like sometime the next 10 years I'm going, but this year it's like, whoa. For the ticket, that's so much, because the hotels are all booked up. It's Texas State Fair, but that would be incredible to walk around that thing with a beer before going in and watching a game. It's a 3:30 kick.
I wonder if you amazing, and that used to be 11 a.m. kick. That one.
You know what you need to do? Just find your way into wherever all the State Fair workers are staying, wherever that like campground is. And just stay there. That'll be a fun time.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work out.
A lot of fried food.
Next one from John. Hey, guys, when Arch Manning is draft eligible, do you think we see a similar scenario that either Peyton or Eli did? And he says Peyton staying for his senior year, not liking was at the top of the draft. That one's probably more conjecture a little bit. But Eli, the one, he refused to play for San Diego.
Yes, for sure. 100%. And it might not even be about the destination, as it might just be about this kid just loves being a college kid. I mean, he could have left. He didn't have to go to Texas to begin with. Like, he could have gone anywhere in the country. He went to Texas, knew he was going to have to sit. He sat 1 year. He's sitting his second year. He's getting to play now because Quinn is hurt, but as soon as Quinn comes back, he's going to sit again. So could I see him wanting to have 2 full years as the starting quarterback at Texas, or because he could – I don't know if he burned his red shirt last year or not. Probably not. Would I see him wanting to have 3 full years as a starting quarterback at Texas and just being the king of Austin and making $6 million in NIL every year and just living as a rich college kid? Yeah, that seems actually kind of nice.
Yeah, because the difference with him is, and there, I mean, obviously other people come from money, but like his family does not, like it's not just that he and his dad have money. His uncles have plenty of money. His grandfather, like nobody, like he doesn't need that.
And he's making millions.
And he's already making money too, playing in Texas. So yeah, I think we could see that. And they've been really. He's not like the bad version of it because his family knows all about this world and knows more probably than just about any family. So I do feel like they're leading him well, which, you know, sometimes when, you're listening to too much of your family, that can get college kids kind of making bad decisions. But I think for him, he should trust these people, and they seem to be helping him along with these decisions, which have always been pushing for the regular college experience, which to me says, okay, they don't want him to just get through all his classes, take them all online, get through it, and go after 3 years. I don't think that's the plan.
So Arch Manning's living the dream because he's going to come out of this with a degree from the University of Texas. He's going to be a legend in Austin, which affords you never having to pay for a drink in that city again. And the money he's making from name, image, and likeness, any of that monetary, they're fun coupons.
When I laid it out that he's making $5 or $6 million and on NIL, which is only going to get more as when he becomes the actual dude, and he gets to like just be a college kid, live in Austin, play for the Horns,
be in the Dr. Pepper commercial,
hang out with Matthew McConaughey.
I mean,
text Matthew McConaughey.
Like, compare that to going to Carolina and trying to resuscitate that mess.
Where do you think Trevor Lawrence would rather be? Another year at Clemson right now or Jacksonville?
What a mess. No, it's a yeah. Here's the pop quiz. How many times did Peyton Manning beat Florida when he was at Tennessee?
Zero times.
One time.
0. He never beat the University of Florida in 4 starts at the University of Tennessee. Pretty wild stuff. Let's go with what was the first one? Was it Jason who did the Browns Bengals?
Yes.
All right, Jay, you get it. You're the winner. $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank, free distillery tour, and a tasting for up to 10 people on that. Stop by High Bank's 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, Westerville, to enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. A very interesting story in regard to hazing and going too far. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman for the Bath Authority. It's time to make your bath and shower something you really love. Something so great, your singing in the shower comes from a genuine place of happiness. Don't keep staring at that outdated bath, the mold, the mildew, the broken tiles. Every unit from the Bath Authority is custom built. You choose the premium accents and accessories. Right now, get free installation on your new bath or shower, plus 36 months of 0% interest. Visit thebathauthority.com. That's thebathauthority.com. A better bath awaits.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand. Listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Trustin Will knows that you're likely celebrating a loved one's birthday this month because fall is the most popular birthday season in America. And Trustin Will celebrates by protecting what matters most. Trustin Will makes estate planning easy and affordable, designed by attorneys but customized by you. Visit trustinwill.com with offer code Columbus for 10% off. That's trustinwill.com, offer code Columbus. Trustin Will is an online service providing legal forms and information. It is not a law firm and is not a substitute for the advice of an attorney.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Did you and your family lose Ohio Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
79 for your high, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of rain. Thursday looks dry with a high of 80, and then tracking showers and wind on Friday with a high of 81. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Week 6 of the high school football season. The Fans' game of the week heads to London as they host, Bell Fountain. That's our guy.
St. Clair.
Tavian St. Clair is going to be around. There you go. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7. Well, that's pretty fascinating. The game is on ESPN Columbus 1460 and 97.1 HD2. After the game, it's Byers Dublin Subaru overtime with Bake and Lee Cochran. Fascinating stuff. You get a little bit, get a listen to see how that one goes, and then listen to the guys break it down afterwards from there. And just keep it locked here on the Fan all day long. This is every football season long. All sorts of good stuff throughout the day. Shefty going to drop by with Rothman and Ice at 12:33. Bob's going to stop by at 1:33. Name dropping with Jeff Rimmer at 5:34, and Wild Card Wednesday, which God bless him. Just fantastic that they use the Penn State Lion on that. Absolutely love that. I got this passed along for me. I saw this story. It clicked with me yesterday, but I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. The reason it clicked for me is when we played that last lacrosse trip we did when we were in Massachusetts, and then we went up to Maine as a family. We did stop by Tufts. And the only reason we stopped by Tufts is, first of all, they're the Jumbos. And Beamsy, I think they won the Division II National Championship. So their logo is like an elephant. Their colors are like Carolina blue and brown. So it's like a cool thing. You wanted to see it, and they're great at lacrosse. So he was into it. And he actually picked up a hoodie, a Tufts lacrosse hoodie from the bookstore when we were on campus. It's north of northern Boston suburbs. So when it clicked, I saw this story and I thought, it registered, but not totally. And then Drew tweeted me and he said, as a Lax dad, can we get your take on the Tufts lacrosse story? So if you're unfamiliar with this story, here is what happened. This was last week. Tufts lacrosse hired, I want to make sure I get all of this right. They hired, or they didn't hire, they brought a former graduate who just previously had graduated Navy SEAL grad training school, their BUDS training, which is the most significant training that anyone can go through. It's the stuff of legend. So this was on September 16th is when this happened. So there was 50 members of the Tufts men's lacrosse team engaged in a supervised 45-minute workout with a Tufts alumnus who had recently graduated from the Navy's basic underwater demolition SEAL training. So they had him do this. It was a 45-minute workout. Now, what happened was wild. Following the exercise, 9 athletes were hospitalized. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's rhabdomyolysis.
I know what that is. That happens.
So here you go. Here's what it is. It's a rare condition that occurs when the muscles break down over overexertion and release their contents into the bloodstream. The condition, which causes symptoms that resemble dehydration or heat exhaustion, can lead to permanent disability or death. 6 students of the 9 have been released from the hospital, while 3 athletes continue to receive treatment as of Monday, according to the university. The university put out a statement saying, our thoughts are with the players and their families. We're hoping their quick return to good health under the care of local medical experts. And by the way, the local medical experts in Boston are probably the best in the world. So they have that going for them, which is nice. The question becomes, how does this happen in the first place? Well, this happens, and the people at Tufts are really, really smart. It happens because the adults in the room continue to try to push and press what athletes are capable of. There's no good reason to have Tufts lacrosse players do a 45-minute Navy SEAL training session. None. you build up to that in the SEALs program. It's not like the first day they're like, oh, yeah, go tread water for 6 hours with a 30-pound weight around your vest.
Does it even make you better at lacrosse? I don't
No.
think so.
My guess is there was probably some innocence on the tough side of it, too, from the standpoint of like, hey, it's off-season conditioning. This might be fun. This guy's a former Navy SEAL guy. Hey, guys, you want to go through a Navy SEAL workout? Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go through a Navy SEAL workout. And then all of a sudden you do it and you go, what the hell? But it's not up to them. It's up to the adults in the room to say, hey, dude, what exactly are we going to do here? Are we sure that normal student athletes can do this? That's probably what happened. I'm guessing there was a lot of innocence in all of this. I don't think this is like the classic youth sports story where, dad is pushing kid like Marv Marinovich pushed Todd. I don't think that's probably what this is. My hunch is that there was some innocence to it. But at the same time, it's just stupid and it's unnecessary. And now they're in the crosshairs for this, and something that could have been totally avoided if there was just a little bit more oversight. I do think that in the story, the 45 minutes of supervised is interesting because the one thing about this is I was reading about this thing that happened to these guys. It basically just looks like dehydration and exhaustion are the symptoms. So you don't really know what's happening until it's too late.
Until it's later, and then you're like, man, something is really wrong. This happened actually to Iowa football 15, 20.
I think Maryland had an incidence of this too.
Yeah, well, because with Iowa, it was a few players went to the hospital. And remember, that was Greg Doyle, who eventually was let go because they deemed he was racially insensitive. And so that was a sign there. But this one's really interesting because it's not exactly an employee of the university, so it'll eventually get to somebody who did this. But you're right, that distinction between supervised and not supervised, was there additional time that the kids worked out with them? How did that factor into that? Was that stuff that wasn't gone over with the coaches? Did anything go over with the coaches? It's a lot of questions there. But yeah, at the real moment of it, the point is that you just don't need to push that hard to the point of physically hurting people, because I don't think getting stronger and getting in better shape does make you better at performing sports, but it's not exactly what you're training for once you get to that point, I don't think.
You guys have heard of David Goggins, right?
Walton Goggins.
No, Walton, I know.
So David Goggins is I want to say he's a former SEAL, and he's very successful on YouTube and Instagram, and social media in general, doing just insane workouts. I mean, he's run like 250 some odd miles in the span of like 36 hours, and he beats the hell out of his body. And he's psychotic, but he's become really successful because of his social media presence. And a lot of people, probably, Bo, I would imagine NBC would know who David Goggins is.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
But give him a quick search on Instagram, and it feels very much like that, because what Goggins has done is challenged people on social media to come and try to work out with him, and it'll be midway through a workout, and he's like not even broken a sweat, because again, he's a psycho, and the other guy's like dead.
Here's the thing too with the SEAL stuff. So the length of the whole thing is 6 months. Okay, it's a 3-week orientation. Is the SEAL training, 3 phases: physical conditioning, combat diving, then land warfare. Timed physical condition tests that become more demanding each week. Basic water competency, swimming, underwater combat, weapons, demolitions, and navigation. Develop and test stamina, leadership, and ability to work as a team. And so these are the baddest dudes on the planet, quite honestly, is what these guys are.
And it's not only is that training a big, they make steps to get to it, but like obviously they've been trained. You don't get into that as a guy off the street. He's been training with the Navy for years before that. Yeah,
my hunch is though that this was a coach and a staff who was trying to make off-season workouts a little more interesting, and it just went really bad. I don't think there's anything nefarious. I'd be shocked if there was. I shouldn't say I don't. I'd just be shocked if there was anything where like, we're going to teach him a lesson. We're going to show him what real conditioning is. Let's have him be trained by a SEAL. My guess is the guy graduated SEAL, knew the coach, reached out. Hey, what do you think? Yeah, man, let's do it. That'll be fun for the guys. They can see what it's like to be a SEAL for a day. It was only a 45-minute workout, so it's not like it was 3 hours. Mm-hmm. There's no such a hazing to it, I don't think. So my hunch is, and again, this is very surface area, is that this was just trying to be creative gone really, really bad.
Yeah, and so I think that's the unfortunate. It really just might be that it just went bad, and it was just a plan that didn't work the way that they expected. But if there is any sort of evidence that like they didn't do their due diligence on it, that could get the staff in trouble, I guess. But it is a weird story, and I guess you just got to be careful out there. That's what we need. What that needs is more mechanisms for players to say like, I don't think this is the right workout for us, and coaches need to be open to thinking about those things.
We don't know that they didn't.
Yeah, I know.
It's possible that they're like, yeah, I'm really tired, but this is only 45 minutes. I can get through it. Like, there's got to be more details on it before you figure out if someone needs to be really, truly held responsible. We'll see, but it's a fascinating story and a hell of a lesson on that. Maybe you don't need to do all of the things that you think you need to do in your brain. Ohio State is treating Will Howard like an NFL quarterback. We'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Flight Auto Glass. Emeka Egbuka scores early on in the game against Marshall, but is it really the big picture, all of the things that he brings to the football team, Ryan?
Emeka brings a lot. Yeah, he does. First off, he's a leader. He's a captain, somebody who has played a lot of football. But ever since he's been here, he's been somebody who has an old soul. He just does so much for our team and, has played a lot of special teams. He's constantly a guy who will be physical and then, block when we need him to block. But you see the big playability, and he's a warrior. And great to see him early on get so involved in the last couple of games, run after the catch. I think his route running is on point. So you're seeing the best version of Emeka right now, and, he's one of the best receivers in the country.
We have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And asking about Emeka Egbuka and the touchdown he had in the Marshall game, is downfield blocking something that's a big part of making small pass plays become big pass plays?
Yeah, it is. It's a huge deal. We say it all the time, and everybody has to have a part of the run game. And when the run game doesn't work, it's easy just to point to the offensive line, but everybody has to be involved, and Will's a part of it. The tight ends are a big part of it, but like you said, the receivers help in a lot of different ways. One way is, when those perimeter screens are thrown, like you saw, that really forces the defense to defend the entire field. And when, you're on the perimeter and on those bubble throws, we consider those part of the run game. And, our guys have been strong out there. But then the second part of that is, getting in the box and sticking your nose in there. On Quinshawn's, big run early in the game, Carnell Tate is right in there, on those toss crack plays. Those receivers are getting dirty with defensive ends and linebackers, and that's winning football. And those are the things that, you don't typically talk about in recruiting when you talk about receivers, but it is how you win games, and those guys are improving every week.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching.
Does this have peanuts?
To waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Don't be fooled by the name. Chops and Reeser are just acquaintances.
Are you guys just co-workers? It should be Bishop and Acquaintances.
And acquaintances. That's what it should be.
I guess Bishop and Friends sounds better.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Now, if you don't have the Peacock, the Fan is here for you. Listen to the Buckeyes in Michigan State, and here's why. The Fan is free. Peacock is not. The Fan has the voice. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey. Peacock does not. Fan is the home of the Buckeyes. Peacock is not. Listen to the Buckeyes in Michigan State, Saturday, 7:30 on the Fan and the Fan app. All right. I mentioned this yesterday. I took note of it, and I noticed that it had been happening every week. Ohio State is making, forever, on a Tuesday at noon, the head coach at Ohio State goes and he meets with the media, and it's the weekly press, the Ryan Day press conference. Way back, it was translating Tress. That's what Rothman and I used to call it, was translating Tress. And then it was urban intelligence. Turns out there wasn't much. When we pitched the segment originally, this is kind of a offshoot, but when we pitched translating Tress, it was because Tress would just talk in crazy code. And you actually had to say, here's what he actually means by this. But then we went to urban intelligence, and it was like, well, this dude's just straightforward. There's nothing to translate.
What he said is the thing.
There was no translating. Like, he just said it directly, and there was no answer to it. And then and Ryan Day has taken that spot, and so that's where we are now. But one thing I noticed yesterday, and I needed a couple of weeks to know that it was factual, was that they bring Will Howard right after Ryan into the same room. So when I say they're treating Will Howard like an NFL quarterback, it's because that's what an NFL quarterback has to do. They have to meet. If you're the starting quarterback in the National Football League, you have to meet with the media every week. Period. Meet with the media.
Doesn't matter.
That's it. Whether it's good news, bad news, no matter what. Like, I'm telling you right now, Deshaun Watson is going to talk, I think today. It's either Wednesday or Thursday for him. He does not want to do it, but he has to do it. And he's got to stand there and take the questions. Will Howard is being treated at Ohio State like an NFL quarterback. And when you listen to him talk, you understand why. He is so polished, so charismatic, so natural in all of it, which is pretty wild. Obviously, experience-wise, he's an older player, but it's not like in Manhattan, Kansas, he saw anything in the vicinity of this. He was asked yesterday during his press conference, where he's treated like an NFL quarterback, about his leadership, especially trying to build that leadership so quickly on the fly, something he has so obviously done. Here was Howard's answer.
The way that I work, I'm an encourager. I'm a positive guy. I want to, obviously you're not going to be able to be positive all the time, and sometimes you gotta pull people along. But, for me, the way that I look at things, man, it's like, we're out here playing a kid's game. We're having fun. We want to have fun with this, man. Like, at the end of the day, we're all together for the same purpose. Like, smile a little bit, have fun, pick your brothers up when they're down, encourage them when they make a great play. I think that's the way that I kind of go about things. And I think, after the first 3 weeks, I think my leadership definitely I've just gotten more comfortable in the role. I think we've just became, I think the more that you play and the more that you go to war with your brothers, man, the closer you get. And I think this team's just continuing to get closer, and we all trust and respect each other. And I think, once you're able to actually get out there on the field and show them what you're able to do on the field, that trust and that respect is there a little more. And I think through 3 games, I think we've done some good things offensively, defensively, special teams. There's obviously way more to clean up. And, I think that's the exciting thing is we have so much more to get better at. But, for me personally, being a leader, I just want to just continue to be a positive force for this team and encourage my teammates however I can.
All right. That was a 1:17 answer to a question. It was 1:17 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded like one of 2 things: a head coach or a pro quarterback. Just listen to him talk. He's a pro.
It appears that he has already thought about these things too when he gets the question, because that's what pros do. They're ready. They know what they're going to be asked about. And we play enough of these college players sound. Nothing against them. They're young kids. They're learning too. But it's hard to get more than 20 seconds out of them. Usually 15 is about the max you get out of them. All of these, there are 9 cuts here from Will Howard yesterday.
Read the list. You don't have to go what they're over. Just read the list of the cuts.
44, 104, 37, 58, 126, 117, 39, 46, 107. You don't even get that kind of talk from Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's 12 seconds.
Yeah, he's a short and sweet guy, but this is the kind of stuff you get from Tom Brady, from Aaron Rodgers, from Peyton Manning. That's
exposition.
That's what he's going for. And with the Matt Sluka news today, it doesn't matter which side it came from, but it feels like, was this a part of his recruiting process when he was in the transfer portal? Did he ask for this? Did Ryan Day offer it because he mentioned how much he wants to get ready for a pro quarterback?
That's interesting.
But that does seem like something that Will Howard was interested in, that he wants to do this too. I want to get out there and get that part practice as well, because I'm learning to be a pro quarterback here at Ohio State.
That's interesting. We talk about NFLU all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You think about quarterback finishing school. Now, they've got the guys on the roster who are going to be the next quarterbacks. So they're not going to go back to I don't think they'll go back to the transfer portal window on a starter for a while. They've done it a couple of times. They did it with Justin, and then they did it with Will, in terms of going to get a guy with the intent of him being the starter. I would not put it past them, and I think it would be very smart if they're doing it. We've talked about NFLU for so long, and they talk about it all the time. The idea of when you come here and you're the starting, if you're Julian Sayin and the presumed he's got next, and you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, if you have smart people around you and they're going, all right, I get to throw to these receivers. I get to play in front of 105,000 people every single time out. I get to be coached by this type of coaching staff. And oh, by the way, I get to be treated like a pro quarterback, like a franchise quarterback. I get to get in front of 100 people, and we're going to pepper me with questions, and I've got to answer those questions. So when it comes time for me to be a pro, I've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it there. I don't know if it's something that they're doing outwardly, Chops. I would not be surprised if they are. I think it would be very smart if they are. They've never done this before.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fully Will Howard specific or if it's just something they've transferred to, because maybe hearing from the coordinators this often, I don't remember we
always talk to them. They never usually brought Jim on Tuesday with that presser. That was usually a Wednesday night.
And then
thing.
Remember during camp, they had each position group with every player in the 2 deep at least available, every player that people were interested in. And
that's awesome.
That seemed like something new that you normally only saw at the bowl game for a media day, but now you're seeing it in preseason, which is exactly what pros have to do in the preseason.
It's so smart of them. A lot of credit goes to Jerry Emig, who's excellent and gets these guys ready and is so straightforward and honest with how the approach is. It's big boy stuff to do, to take college kids and say, you want to play in the NFL? This is as close as you're going to get in college athletics, Reese.
Yeah, it's funny. Just editing stuff from Justin Fields, NFL quarterback, Ohio State guy. 10 seconds on stuff, and it's a very generic sounding answer. But and it goes back to when talking to Will Howard last week. He was like, "Yeah, I sometimes may sit in class and watch film." It's like this guy. This is what he wants to do, and he's polished, and he's continuing to get better at all of the little things day in and day out. That should make you, as an Ohio State fan, very excited. That should make the coaching staff feel very excited for what's to come, because if you can build off of those 3 games in 4 weeks, there's a pretty high ceiling that you don't feel like you've even sniffed. And even for the coaching staff, it makes him look really, really smart when he comes out and behaves the way he does and plays like that. Like, and he has.
It's both.
Even without showing his full hand.
And hopefully NFL teams are getting excited about what they see from him, too.
Well, he'll be drafted. Yeah. He's going to be drafted. It's, is it second day? What is it? There's that'll be, but the way he's playing, the way this is going, he's one of those guys you want in your operation. There's no doubt about it. It is a First Friday. Get your officially endorsed and 3 things coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Ready to turn your media passion into a high-octane career? Ohio Media School will train you for TV, radio, social media, and digital media. Dive into hands-on learning with their cutting-edge Activator curriculum. Gain real-world experience through internships and live remotes. And get insider knowledge from industry pros. Small class sizes, real-world media studios, and 6 to 8 month programs. They accelerate your career with personal attention and essential skills. Visit Ohio Media School at beonair.com to book your free studio tour.
Navigating mental health insurance benefits can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. The Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office is here to guide you. Our expert team will help you connect with your health insurance plan to understand available behavioral health benefits. Say goodbye to frustration and hello to control over your mental well-being. Call 855-438-6442 today.
With so much happening every day,
ABC6 News is on your side, helping you understand the events that impact your community.
Do you believe Columbus City Schools is in a PR crisis?
Central Ohio's most experienced team of reporters, persistent in getting answers to the questions you're asking.
Are you worried about how people are going to react?
And when you need us, ABC6 News is on your side, finding solutions.
6 on your side, they're the ones willing to answer the phone.
You can count on ABC6 News to be on your side.
ABC Thursday is a night of major drama.
911, what's your emergency?
First, the 911 premiere event begins. Be NATO.
That truck was hauling 22 million killer bees.
Oh my God.
Then it's Dr. Odyssey, the splashy new drama set on a luxury cruise ship.
It's your job to keep everyone alive. She's in defib. Clear. You're going to be okay.
911 season premiere and Dr. Odyssey series premiere, followed by Grey's Anatomy.
Thursday night starting at 8 on ABC6.
Rise and shine, jabronis.
What a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box, yeah.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur? At Twin Peaks, we are proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selects that are handpicked by our team and bottled just for you. Cheers!
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Ohio Basement Authority. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it, but there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you.
Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Windows, siding, APCO. Absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Saturday is game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Riker Ford.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Not interested in Iowa football? Too bad. Chops will tell you about it anyway. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, what's on the poll today, Reese?
The Daily Fan poll asks, would you like to fire your favorite NFL team's head coach? 54% of you out there say no, they would not. 45% say yes. Pink slip the man now.
I wonder how many more fans would rather, if you had the choice, you had to choose between one or the other, would you rather fire your coach or your chief rival's coach?
Well, you'd probably, if you're a
if
fan
I
of the
could
Browns or
send
Bengals.
Mike Tomlin to
Mike
Mars,
Tomlin,
yeah.
gone. You want him out.
If you're in the AFC West, Andy Reid, gone.
Get him out. Yeah, get those guys out. I do think that the majority of the people who are dissatisfied with their coach in this state are probably not head coach dissatisfied with. I think most Browns fans don't blame Stefanski.
Yeah, I'm good with Kevin. Send Deshaun Watson to Mars.
I blame Flacco for defecting. How dare he not come back?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how it went
Despite
down.
him saying he'd like to come back. Sure. Flacco's fault.
Flacco's doing autograph sessions in Hartville, in Ohio in February, but he wanted to leave. Yeah, and then Lou Anarumo seems to probably get most of the blame down in Cincinnati. Yeah. That started would be my guess. All right, it's a First Friday. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
All right, I feel like I've led most of you correctly on the officially endorsed cocktail front through the years, whether it is bourbon or predominantly bourbon selections or cocktails or things to fit certain situations. You're going to have to trust me on this one. I made this up. Now, maybe it's been done somewhere else. I'm not checking TikTok, so I don't know. But this was something that I was in the mood for last night, and I wanted to give it a test drive before I gave it a shot today. I will acknowledge that if you do not like the taste of pickles, you're not going to like this. It ain't going to be for you. It ain't. Here's what I did. So I took a highball glass and I filled it up with ice. Then I took probably 3 fingers of my house tequila, which is Grand Centenario and Añejo, and I poured that in there. And then I took Mount Olive pickle brine and I finished it to the top. So garnished it with 2 mini dills and then celery salt around the rim. It was a delight. It was delicious. It's great.
Does it have a name?
It was fantastic. It's kind of a pickle margarita. I just test drove it last night and I made one. I went, God, that's really nice. And I like pickles. I like dill pickles. You could even, I tell you what would really be great. Like there's some of the folks, like I think it's Tony Pacos up in Toledo. They have like a spicy dill pickle. That might really bring out some of the tequila flavor. It was a winner last night. If you like the taste of pickles, give it a shot. My guess is you'll like it as well. It's officially endorsed on this fine First Friday. Time for 3 things.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me, so after the 2 littles, and then the wife is still on like Mexico time, so she was exhausted. She went to bed early. So it was me and NBC last night, and we were bouncing around, and we landed on Top Gun Maverick, was on Paramount. So we would bounce back and forth between that, and then there must have been, it was the Dodgers-Yankees documentary that was on ESPN last night about the 77-78 Yankees-Dodgers. He and I are sitting there watching Top Gun Maverick. There is no way that they don't pick Hangman for that mission. It's impossible. He's the best pilot. He only got once. Everybody else is shaky. Like they picked Phoenix and Bob, who drive a plane into a mountain and lose control of it. Rooster is completely untrustworthy. Hangman is the best pilot for sure. And they left him home. They took 3 different squadrons with Maverick. They leave him at home. Outright. There's just no way that they would leave him. He was the best one.
There's no room for a guy who's a jerk in military combat.
What are we doing? Like, he's the best pilot by 100 miles in the whole operation.
First one for me, I was reading this story today. Did you guys see how Dan Campbell got doxxed? Apparently, after the NFC Championship game, a high school classmate of his daughter tweeted out there, or not tweeted, put on Snapchat their address, and then people like went there and were trying to harass them, including the kid who shared it. But I was just like, if you got a hold, I understand you're angry, probably drunk, and you're whatever. You get a hold of Dan Campbell's address. What do you think's going to happen if you go there? I would venture to guess it would need to be 5 or more normal people to beat up Dan Campbell. So if you only have a group of 4, you're probably losing the fight. I don't understand what you think.
Do they have weapons?
I don't even. What kind of weapons?
It's like Grand Theft Auto. Do they have baseball bats? What do they got?
I could see because somebody coming up with a baseball bat to Dan Campbell and then just catching it with one hand.
The 3 of us in Rothman and Ice versus Dan Campbell. Who wins? Not us.
Dan Campbell.
No, he kicks our ass.
Unless we bring Bob in.
Well,
then we have a chance.
But you can do almost hell. Give us
Dan
Bean.
Campbell.
Give us Man and Bone. All of us versus Dan Campbell. I take Dan Campbell.
Everybody but Bob in programming.
There you go.
Dan Campbell.
Mike and Bone, Wild Card Wednesday. Dan Campbell versus everybody who is not a former football player that works at the Fan in a fight. Who wins to the death?
Top Gun Maverick, you say, is a movie worth checking out?
It's great. God, you're going to like it. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Maybe I'll get on it. I don't know.
Snuck under the radar.
I got a lot to do in the next couple of days in terms of viewing. I also have a bone to pick with ESPN's regular season baseball grades. You're supposed to give them at the end of the regular season, which doesn't end till Sunday. So why are you publishing them on a Wednesday when there's like 4 or 5 games left to go for teams? David Schoenfeld gave Cleveland an A and Kansas City an A-. So again, the regular season's not over. The Royals lost 100 games this year. It could be the first team to do that in the next season, make the postseason. And Stephen Vogt in his first season as the Guardians in the ALDS. So both for Cleveland and KC, they're A-pluses, even with 4 days left to go in the regular season.
They did it because it's a football vacation. Football weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it was kind of, if you'd wait till the weekend, no one's going to care. Number 2 for me, on this date in 1993, my life as a high school football player changed forever. The program debuted. I went and watched it opening weekend. I saw it with the scene with Joe Kane laying on the floor of the road before that got pulled. If you haven't, go see it. It's awesome.
Second one for me. This has happened to us now a few times because I mentioned, hey, the matinees are nice, and I don't know if I really like it, but we were 2 of 4 people in the whole theater yesterday for our 5 o'clock showing, and now this is at least the 3rd time that this has happened in the last year or so that we have been 2 of roughly 5 or less, or one time we were the only 2 people in there. And I will say this, and I think most people would get this, much better to be the only people than only 2 other people there. It's a very weird environment when there's 2 groups of people and that's it.
Yeah.
So my third thing, and I've got this up on our screen. You can see it on YouTube. Albert Breer, and Bo, I don't know if you saw this. The entire movie, The Program, is on Twitter.
It's all on Twitter.
So if you go to Albert Breer's Twitter account, I'm holding it. I don't know if that'll get us in trouble with YouTube if I hold it up, but it's now on my phone, and I can watch the entire program.
There you go.
Technology. I mean, it should get pulled, you think? I don't know.
I would think so. This will be the 3rd for all of us collectively. Razor, Bear Claw, Stinger. There you go. Enjoy your first Friday, kids. Try that pickle margarita if you like this. If you like the taste pickle, my hunch is you'll like it. Rothman and Ice up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here in The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
3 weeks into the NFL season, and we already have some major changes at the top of the awards categories. Josh Allen is now the MVP favorite, overtaking Patrick Mahomes, despite the fact that both teams were undefeated. Jaden Daniels is now the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year favorite is the Vikings' Kevin O'Connell, who has led the Vikings to a surprisingly hot start. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your flooring again. Nature's Stone is a beautiful permanent flooring solution for garages, basements, and indoor spaces. Act now to get pricing as low as 99 cents a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate today at